Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harman team. Apply now at HarmanEnergy.com.
Come out Saturday, October 15th to support Stars by running, walking, or boogieing. The Nashville Striders 22nd Annual Shelby Bottoms Boogie 15K and 5K Run Walk, or you can show your support and participate virtually. More information at starsnashville.org.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome game set.
Checker flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Live in the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Caroline Fenton is here today. Hello, Caroline.
Hello, how we doing?
Outstanding. Ian is here today. Hello, Ian.
What up, what up?
Okay, so yesterday we were on for an abbreviated 2.5 hours, and we were on in the midday show slot with Derek. And we all had our opinions about what happened with the Titans in the second half, and I certainly was chief among us, who had opinions about what happened in the second half. And then a miracle happened. The NFL, 24 hours after the game's over, releases the coach's tape. And let me just start off by saying this. I think that watching the coach's tape, which I am truly addicted to.
Like, I know you are.
Once I get into it, I mean, yesterday, I want to say I got going to it around 6 o'clock. And I think it was like the fourth quarter of the Monday Night Football game when I had finished just watching the offensive plays in the second half. So I didn't watch a single defensive snap on the coach's tape, and I didn't watch any of the first half stuff. So it was all the 19 offensive snaps in the second half, and it took me about 2.5 hours. And so I watched every play. But let me just say this off the jump. I think there's a chance that watching the tape is going to make me a worse radio host.
Why?
Because radio, like, I understand the game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I understand the game when I'm at a Tampa Bay Buccaneers practice and Tom Brady's holding a press conference. And I asked Tom Brady, was Ryan Tannehill the MFer you were talking about this summer when you did that HBO documentary? I know the game. Because I know that as soon as I say that, whatever Brady says, it's going to be, well, Brady said this. Do we believe Brady? What do we think about what Brady said? And Brady did this, and Brady and Tannehill, and I understand the game. Now, I don't play that game. Like, I don't just all of a sudden say, okay, let's talk about, should they fire Todd Downing today? Because we know that that will get a lot of reaction. But the one thing that former players are always told when they get into the media is don't do the X's and O's because the fans get bored with the X's and O's. They'll never tell you that they want less information because a lot of times people don't know themselves that they want less information. But the reality is that oftentimes people like things their way. That's why people listen to politicians talk about the economy and not economists talk about the economy. That's why they listen to people who, that agree with them more so than people that inform them. And when I watch the tape, the one thing I can't do is I had an opinion yesterday about the second half. And I said that it must be a coaching problem. If it's an every week, week in, week out, second half against the Giants, second half against the Raiders, second half against the Colts, second half against the Bills. It must be a coaching problem. Well, that's not exactly what the tape said. Like, I went and watched the offensive plays because I think we can all agree defense was fine in the second half.
Yeah.
I mean, Farley stinks, but
they could put more pressure on Matt Ryan in the third quarter, but I think overall.
And why they didn't do that, I don't know, because I didn't watch. And that's another thing. I don't make assumptions. I used to make a lot of assumptions back in my day. Talk about back in my day like I'm old or something.
2 months
like
ago?
But I used to make a lot of assumptions. Like the Washington Commanders, for instance. Mm-hmm. I have not watched the Washington Commanders play a single game.
I have not either, and I don't feel like I'm missing out.
So when all of a sudden we talk about Washington, like that's completely and totally uninformed chatter. Like, I mean, when you watch the Colts game, and I'm not just saying this to you, but I'm saying this to everybody out there, did you not feel like the things that were said on this program were completely relevant as to what happened on Sunday? We told you they can't protect Matt Ryan. We told you that, hey, look, they really don't have any receivers. Like Pittman, kind of, but the other guys, they're not very good. They really don't have any receivers. We told you that. We told you that their defense, even though they have all these name players, Stephon Gilmore and DeForest Buckner and Shaquille Leonard and there's one other player on their defense I'm forgetting. I can't remember. But Yannick Ngakoue, and they got all these names. The two best players on their defense were Grover Stewart and Zaire Franklin. Those were the two best players. But we talked about that because I felt confident in talking about it because I'd watched every game that Indianapolis had played. I watched that boy Juju Smith-Schuster run past Stephon Gilmore. I'm like, he can't run anymore. Not Stephon Gilmore. So the more I have access to watch, the more informed I get, which also, one, makes me not want to address things that I don't feel informed about. So when it comes to what was different between the first half and the second half with the Titans when I looked at the tape, I don't know. I can't tell you that because I didn't look at the first half tape. I only looked at the second half offensive plays. And I said it yesterday on the show because, again, didn't have access to the tape, the coach's tape, until after the show that we did yesterday in the midday slot. But we're talking about Todd Downing, and I'm talking about time of possession, and I truly woke up yesterday morning, and I thought that Todd Downing was hurting this team. When I flipped on the tape, I learned a totally different story yesterday. And I broke it all down as to why the Titans didn't play particularly well in the second half against Indianapolis. And I'll tell you the number one reason why. It was Tannehill. I mean, it was missing open wide receivers. It was bad decision-making. There were some plays where I could argue it was a bad decision on Tannehill's part. I could argue Henry has to beat a linebacker one-on-one and didn't do it. And I don't know what the Titans think of that. I can only tell you what happened on that particular play. I can't tell you the why. I can't tell you why Tannehill decided not to throw the ball to Dontrell Hilliard or Nick Westbrook-Akine on a third down, the play where Treylon Burks got hurt, and he stayed on the field. And on the third down, Tannehill ran and did not make it for a first down, and the Titans had to punt. And we all said, Burks, it ruined the play because they only had 10 guys on the field, and Burks should have gone down, and the Titans could have called timeout, and Treylon Burks hopped on 1 foot 15 yards down the field and took his man with him. So the idea that Treylon Burks didn't matter on that play is not true because Burks did literally what he was supposed to do. In fact, Westbrook-Akine and Hilliard crossed each other right in front of Tannehill with a clean pocket, both at the sticks. He literally could have just picked either guy and just throw a short little pass over the middle, and it would have been a first down. But he didn't. I can't tell you why he didn't throw the ball because I don't know the answer as to why he didn't throw the ball. I can just tell you that play didn't work out because Tannehill didn't throw the ball. There was one play where the Titans ended up gaining 3 yards on a pass play, I believe, to Derrick Henry. And Burks and Woods are on the left side. And they both run down the field. And they take the corners and the safeties with them. So they're 25 yards down the field and 20 yards down the field. And I want to say Woods was open on that play. They might have both been open, but Woods was definitely open 20 yards down the field. And Derrick Henry is by himself with a linebacker, and Tannehill drops it off to the linebacker. So now, or to Henry. So now it's Henry versus the linebacker. Well, Did Tannehill make the mistake not throwing the ball down the field to a wide-open Robert Woods? Or was the play designed for those guys to clear out that left side of the field so that they could get Henry versus the linebacker, and Tannehill's job was to deliver it to Henry, and then Derrick Henry, I mean, I hate to say it, but some random linebacker on the Colts or Derrick Henry, I'm going to take Derrick Henry. I mean, I would say that my money would be on Derrick Henry, and then Derrick Henry just didn't beat the guy. So I can't blame that on Todd Downing. There was a running play in the first half where the Titans had 8 against 9, and Henry's the 9th guy. And they hand the ball off to Henry, and the Colts corner comes down, and Henry just dances right around the corner and runs into the end zone for a touchdown. Literally just, hey, I see the guy. I see you try to make a tackle on me. You're a corner. You don't tackle 250-pound running backs. Henry takes one little sidestep around the guy, and he just jogs into the end zone. Titans try that in the second half. Exact same play. Everybody blocks the same man. The corner tackles Derrick Henry in the backfield. Was it a bad play? I don't think so. It was the same play that ended up being a touchdown in the first half. The corner just made the tackle. So I guess it's a long-winded way of saying that the things that I feel like everybody wants to blame one person. Everybody wants to say it's your fault, or you stink, or you should be fired, or you're the reason that we won. And yet, with almost everything in life, nobody is right all the time. Nobody is always successful every single time that they try to do something. And just because you had a bad day at work yesterday doesn't mean that you're not good at your job or that you will not have a good day at work tomorrow. And that's what really diving into this every week has kind of taught me is, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought Todd Downing coached a really, really, really good game on Sunday. Now, I didn't watch the first half film, but I'm going to assume, and you know I don't like doing this because
I think that's a pretty safe assumption that they were better in the first half.
That he had a good half of calling plays in the first half, just without having watched the actual tape. There were plays that after I watched on the tape, I wrote down, good call, great call. There was one play in particular that I saw on the tape that I wanted to get up out of my chair in the dining room at my house watching this on an iPad, and I wanted to applaud Todd Downing for the play call that he made on a third down where Tannehill ended up getting sacked. And Petit Ferrer didn't know the loop that DeForest Buckner was going to use on him, and because Petit Ferrer went with Kwity Paye and then realized that Buckner was looping back around with a free shot at Tannehill, he let go of Kwity Paye to go to Buckner, and Kwity Paye sacked Tannehill. And as Kwity Paye is sacking Tannehill, Robert Woods has dusted Stephon Gilmore. The Indianapolis Colts run a single high safety on almost every play. The safety is now sprinting over to make sure that Robert Woods doesn't run into the end zone by himself. And Dontrell Hilliard's coming right underneath, and there's nobody on the left side of the field. And all Tannehill needs is about 1 second longer. And he drops the ball off to Hilliard. Hilliard cuts it upfield. It's a touchdown. It was a beautiful play. Now, you got to give Indianapolis credit because they ran a game on the rookie, and the rookie didn't know what to do, and it ended up being a sack on third down, and the Titans had to punt. But that's not Todd Downing's fault. And so, again, you know, when we talked about it in the past, Todd Downing has been asked about over the last couple of weeks, you know, what's wrong with the second halves and what's wrong with this. And again, I'm not going to apply that what was wrong last week against the Raiders in the second half is necessarily what was wrong this week against Indianapolis in the second half, because I don't know.
But it's the fact that there have been problems in the second half in each of the 4 games that the Titans have played. Maybe the reasons why they weren't as good as the first half are different, but it's still the fact that remains that this is not a 60-minute team. This is a 30-minute team.
Sure. And I can't tell you why. I cannot tell you why. I can tell you how it happened. I can tell you who messed up. And that once I looked at it, and I'm like, okay. Because I said last week, either they're coaching it or they're allowing it to happen, and I agree with that. Which means that they're going to have to coach it better. Like, they are going to have to figure out why Tannehill did what he did in the second half of that game Sunday. And they're going to have to coach it better. But I can't tell you why Tannehill didn't do certain things that I am accustomed to Ryan Tannehill doing. I can't tell you, there was one play we were talking about before the show where Nicholas Petit-Ferrer takes a bad angle on Zaire Franklin, the linebacker for the Colts, and Zaire Franklin's able to make a tackle on Derrick Henry. And I told you, I don't know why Petit-Ferrer didn't get to the right side of Zaire Franklin to block him towards the inside of the field when Derrick Henry's trying to run to the outside of the field. I don't know why he was late getting there. I don't know if he was late getting there because he doesn't know who he's supposed to block. I don't know if he was late getting there because he didn't fire off the ball fast enough. I don't know if he didn't get there because he's maybe not that athletic. He's a third-round tackle. That's why tackles who are good, that run well at the combine, go with the 9th pick in the draft and not in the 3rd round. I can't tell you the why. I could just tell you that PT did not get to the right side of the linebacker, and that's why he was able to tackle Derrick Henry. So, as I said, if we want to, every day just crucify Todd Downing, well, they only got 1 first down. They only got 3 first downs in the second half and not 1 first down in the third quarter, and Downing sucks. If that's what you want it to be, I can't go there. Not for this game. And again, I can't make assumptions on games that I didn't track the same way that I tracked this game. And that's why I'm telling you that I feel like watching the tape is going to make me a worse radio host. Like, it's not going to be as good because it's more fun to talk about things like, Traylon Burks is hurt. And so does that prove that the A.J. Brown trade was a bad trade? We'll take your calls. Now, by the way, we will still do plenty of that. Make no mistake. But it's just different. It's just different. Some people do not like not knowing things. And I am part of that. And watching the tape has made me feel personally like I actually probably know less than what I would just assume that I know. It's a really weird conundrum.
Because I think you're more informed about the what and not the why. It brings up so many more questions about the why. Because with the tape, you can see, okay, this guy missed his man. You can see, okay, open receiver down here, and Tannehill didn't look his way and held on to the football instead.
But why did he?
Why? And that's what I want to know. And that's what's so frustrating,
why?
is I won't know the why.
And even if they know the why, they won't tell you the why.
Tell you.
And not only that, I think that part of coaching is to find the why. I think that's what it is. So with that, you want to know who messed up in the second half?
Yes.
That's what we'll do next. 615-737-1025. I have 11 errors on 17 offensive plays. I will tell you who made them. Who to point the finger at. Obviously, Tannehill is well involved in this discussion, but we'll get to that coming up next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. I absolutely love Hiller. They were at my house last week. We're actually looking at doing some work on the home. They're sending quotes over. Here's this package. Here's that package. And they're always taking great care of me, and I know they'll do the exact same for you. Hey, fall means cooler weather is coming, so make sure your family is warm in your home with this special deal from Hiller. This month, take advantage of Hiller's Happy HVAC Comfort Bundle, which includes an HVAC replacement, a germicidal UV light, an extended 10-year warranty, and you'll get a free Solo smokeless stove. Or get a free Solo stove with a new whole home generator or whole home water filtration and descaler. Plus, Hiller's offering 0 interest for up to 12 months on all of these purchases. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Services Free Guarantee, and I know that because I use Hiller. Hiller, proud supporters of the Vols, the Preds, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face truck today.
Your home for the MTSU Blue Raiders is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Every touchdown.
Yes, touchdown.
Every three.
Free ball, yes, sir.
It all lives here.
Middle Tennessee.
You can also hear the Blue Raiders in the Borough on 97.5, Middle Tennessee Athletics on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Attention sports fans, your favorite sportsbook BetUS.com is back for our 29th year of football action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com or call 1-800-789-BetUS and get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
One of the best things to happen here over the last year is the arrival of QC Kinetics. Willie Donick here. QC Kinetics is helping people in our area get real, lasting relief from their joint pain with the latest in regenerative medicine. No drugs, no downtime, no steroids, no surgery. In fact, QC Kinetics has tripled in size. Now with clinics in Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro, one near you. So if you have pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, back, whatever joint it is, don't think steroids and surgery are your only options. Regenerative medicine treatments at QC Kinetics use natural biologics, healing agents from your own body. It restores and repairs the damaged joint tissue. Pro athletes have been doing this for years, and now it's available to you and me. So many people here have done this and are raving about how they got their life back without that nagging daily pain. Appointments are available as soon as next week, and the consultation is free. So call QC Kinetics and learn how modern precision medicine can help you deal with the pain caused by arthritis or injury without drugs or surgery. QC Kinetics in Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro. 615-249-4024 for the consultation. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
Employee onboarding?
Automated.
Customer support?
Automated.
What if you could automate all your company's routine operation tasks and do it easily?
Lead management?
Automated.
With Zapier, you can. Zapier is the leader in no-code automation. Connect over 5,000 apps, automate almost any workflow, and streamline your team's performance without hiring a developer and with no coding required. That's right. Zapier's templates make it simple for you to automate anything in minutes, no matter your level of expertise. Zapier eliminates routine tasks and frees your employees to focus on the bigger picture. And with Zapier's advanced security features and annual SOC 2 audits, your data is safe and secure. See why thousands of companies, including Slack, Salesforce, and HubSpot, trust Zapier to automate their businesses.
Even complex tasks?
Automated with Zapier.
Try Zapier for free today at zapier.com/radio. That's zapier.com/radio. Zapier.com/radio.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
How much of it are you doing self-scouting and it's just working on being better?
For this week?
Well, just in general, because the second half is propped up over and over again for your offense.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just about getting that first down, getting into the drives. I mean, some of the stuff that we're, that we hit or made a play on, we didn't. Some of it is, one little mistake here or there. And but I think that there's a lot of good football still in there. We just can't have the mistakes that have showed up. And, once you can get into drives, we just didn't run many plays, ran 18 plays in the second half. It's not enough.
There you go. That was Vrabel yesterday. And I'm sure that's not an answer people want to hear about the second half. So I'm sure they want to hear, hey, we are going to coach them harder in the second half than we've ever coached them this week as we get ready to play Washington. By the way, did you hear Vrabel call them the Redskins yesterday?
Yeah, I did hear that.
I think he did that on purpose.
Did he? Or was it just a slip of the tongue?
No. They haven't. It's been
Derek
3 years.
calls them the Oakland Raiders.
I know, but it's been 3 years.
I always want to call them the football team. I got so used to saying Washington football team.
And it hasn't been 3 years for that.
No, it hasn't.
It hasn't. So, anywho. So, Vrabel, you heard right there with Corey. He's like, I just got to get first downs. And, it's a guy not making a play here or a guy making a mistake there or we had some good plays. And I know people don't want to hear that. It's true. It's true. That is what happened when I watched the film of the second half. I can't talk about the other games because I didn't watch all the offensive plays in the second half of the other games on the coach's tape yesterday. Can only tell you what I felt about the Colts game. So I literally watched every play from the coach's tape, from the sideline camera and the end zone camera. Here's who messed up. Really hate doing this. Because
Why?
It's like...
Since when have you hated calling people out for messing up?
I don't know. Nicholas Petit-Frere had 4 mistakes. So there were, in my opinion, there were 11 or 12 mistakes, however you want to count it. Because I think Tannehill made 2 separate mistakes on one play, but one of the mistakes won't count no matter what because it was an illegal shift penalty. and the Colts declined it. And so Tannehill threw a bad ball to Kyle Phillips, and I think he panicked, and I think he threw the ball off his back foot, and it was short, and it was incomplete, and it was fourth down, and that had to bring on the punt unit, but even if it was complete, it wouldn't have counted because it was an illegal shift. So we can either give 2 mistakes to Tannehill on that or just 1, even though either mistake would have doomed them on that play. So however you want. 11, 12, you guys decide. Get back to me on that. Here you go. Nicholas Petit-Ferrer made 4 mistakes. Tannehill made 3. But he also made 2 mistakes that could have been his fault. So he made 3 mistakes that were undoubtedly Ryan Tannehill's fault, plus the 4th one, if you want to count the illegal shift or the bad ball to Phillips.
And then 2 additional that could have been
and
him.
then 2 that absolutely could have been his mistake.
So 5 or 6.
Yes. Derrick Henry had 2, in my opinion. Derrick Henry had 2 mistakes and 1 that could be his fault, which we can go through those or whatever you want. Nate Davis had one where he just missed a block and the guy made the tackle. Nate Davis had a mistake. 2 of them could have been play design errors, and through that 17 plays and either 11 or 12 possible errors. So, for instance, Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, false start, that's pretty easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's an error.
That's a very
on,
obvious, you messed up.
Can't have it.
Penalties are easy ways to say that was on you.
Can't mess up. Can't do it. Can't have it. It counts as a mistake. Those things are drive killers, just like the Ben Jones face mask in the first half against Buffalo. The first play that I marked as a mistake was the Tannehill sack on the second play of the first drive of the second half. Now, Derek yesterday said that was Tannehill's fault, and Mark Schlereth on the TV broadcast blamed Tannehill for that. It's where Tannehill ran the boot, and Dennis Daly's man just stood right there, and Tannehill ran right into the sack. So I went through the play. Indianapolis has 7 in the box, single high safety, and Gilmore is manned up against Nick Westbrook-Akina. Then I wrote in red. When I write in red, it's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what this play was supposed to do. Tannehill's feet were in the wrong position. It looked like a play that was designed for a left-handed quarterback.
So is that a play call or is that on Tannehill?
So let me finish on this.
Okay.
Daly gets beat on the edge. Nobody's route is open. And I'm assuming that somebody must have ran the wrong play or thought, that they were supposed to do something they weren't because Westbrook-Akine and Swaim ran into the same spot. And so I don't know what to do. I asked a college football analyst I trust a lot, what would they put it on? Remember, Schlereth said Tannehill. Mm-hmm. Derek said Tannehill. The college football analyst said the left tackle getting blown up ends the play no matter what, but that it's kind of a dumb play to run for a right-handed quarterback. So that's where it could be the play design, or it could have been Tannehill, or it could be the left tackle, but
or a little bit of everything.
Everybody has their own person to blame on that one. Petit-Ferrer false start, that's on him. I think that,
that's pretty obvious that's on him.
All right, here you go. Drive 2. 8 in the box. Play action for Tannehill, and he's got plenty of time. Everybody was open on this play. Robert Woods was open 20 yards down the field. Treylon Burks was open 25 yards down the field. So the quick strike, the big play, is there for Tannehill because those guys are open. Instead, he checks the ball down short to Derrick Henry, who gains a couple of yards and is tackled by a linebacker. Now, this is the one play where it could have been Tannehill's fault because he didn't throw the ball down the field to Woods or Burks. It could have been the play design fault because the play was, in my opinion, probably designed to have Woods and Burks blow by the defensive backs and send everybody 20, 30 yards down the field so that it's Derrick Henry versus a linebacker. Tannehill drops the ball off to Henry, and the hope is that Derrick Henry in space versus a linebacker just, either stiff arms the linebacker or jukes the linebacker or whatever, and runs all the way down the sidelines, and we know what it looks like when Derrick Henry gets ahead of steam. And so maybe that was the play design, and that's what Tannehill was told to do. And if that was the case, then is it on Derrick Henry to beat that linebacker and to get running up the sidelines when it's one guy to beat? We don't blame Derrick when they hand the ball off to him and there's 5 guys in the backfield, do we? No. So when it's Derrick versus one guy, Derrick's got to beat the one guy. So is it Derrick or is it Tannehill for missing the guys down the field? We don't know. So it could be either.
And you could also say both.
Well, it's one or the other.
I know.
Either Tannehill's told to throw it to Derek, or Tannehill panicked and threw it to Derek, but it can't be both.
But if the play call is throw it to Derek, can Tannehill check out of that and say, I have an open guy 25 yards downfield and I know I can get it to him?
I mean, I feel like if the whole play is designed for them to throw it to Derek, chances are that Tannehill can check out of anything. He's the guy with the ball in his hands, but that, for the most part, he's probably going to get the ball to Derek. Like, if the play is to get it to Derek, and they take the secondary, they take the DBs with them in order to open up the space for Derek, they probably practiced that play for him to throw it to Derek, then he's going to throw it to Derek.
Yeah.
But it can't be both. It can't be Tannehill panicked and threw it to Derek, and the play was designed for Tannehill to dump it off to Derek. Can't be both. It's one or the other. And so you don't know. But it's either Tannehill, Henry, or it was the play design. And that I don't have an answer to. The seventh play. Colts show a blitz. They bring 6. It's a single high safety. Tannehill sees Kyle Phillips and delivers the ball short and behind Phillips. He had a good pocket. It was a bad ball off of his back foot. And I think it was a good call because what they did was they motioned Robert Woods over and they got Phillips open in space for a first down. It would have kept him moving. Tannehill threw a bad ball. Also, they broke the huddle with 13 seconds to go. And I only know this because I had to go back and watch the TV copy and not like the condensed game where it's play. Right. I had to go watch the game on the DVR. And Fox was too busy zeroed in on a defensive player for the Colts. And so I heard the clap of the hands of the huddle at 13 seconds on the play clock. Robert Woods starts outside the numbers, and Tannehill is trying to motion him across the formation to be the outside guy on the other side with 6 seconds on the play clock. Tannehill is clapping for the ball from Ben Jones with 5 seconds on the play clock, and Ben Jones ends up snapping it right as the clock hit 0, but Robert Woods wasn't set, and so I have to put that on Tannehill. What was wrong with the operation to where they couldn't break that huddle fast enough, or to where Tannehill's got to realize that if there's not enough time when they break the huddle, then he's got to tell Robert Woods, just go over there. Don't worry about motioning. And it's risky because he wants to see what formation Indianapolis is in when he does that. Mm-hmm. But you broke the huddle with 13 seconds. You don't have a choice. That's not – so the operation was not run well, and that is the quarterback. So – they get an illegal shift because they snap the ball before Robert Woods is set. That's Tannehill's fault. Bad ball off his back foot, short for Phillips. Also Tannehill's fault.
Why would that not be on Robert Woods?
Because Robert Woods doesn't motion Robert Woods in motion. Robert Woods has to run from – Tannehill motions Robert Woods over, and then Robert Woods has to get where he's supposed to get set, and then Tannehill has to wait on him to snap the ball.
Okay.
Like the quarterback is responsible for all of that. If there's not enough men on the line of scrimmage, the quarterback is responsible. He's the one who has to look at it and say, okay, no, we need an extra guy up on the line of scrimmage, and then tell the tight end, hey, you get up, you drop back, whatever it may be. That's the quarterback's job. So to me, one or the other is Tannehill's fault. The Titans run a play, 8 in the box. They run 2 tight ends, Raiders in the game, as is Swaim, so they're blocking tight ends. It's a run play. The Titans have 7 possible blockers versus 8 Colt defenders. Burks motions in. So now it's 8, but his guy comes with him. So now it's 9 Colts versus 8 Titans. What's that mean? That means either one guy has to block 2 people or Derrick Henry has to beat one of those guys. Derrick Henry is supposed to go outside of 24 for Indianapolis, Isaiah Rodgers. Henry doesn't because he's arm tackled. Brewer did get beat on the play by Grover Stewart where he just kind of pushed Brewer back, which kind of slowed things down for Henry at the beginning. But it's the exact same play they ran in the first half where they handed the ball to Henry and he just danced outside of the corner and ran into the end zone for a touchdown. This time he tried to dance outside the corner and the corner made the tackle. So Derrick Henry did it in the first half, couldn't do it in the second half. Another Tannehill error. 3rd and 5. This one pissed me off. This is the play where Treylon Burks is hurt. And that's not what pissed me off, though that does piss me off too. So it's 3rd and 5. Treylon Burks is hurt, but he hops on one foot 15 yards down the field. He literally hopped on one foot, and his man went with him. So whatever you want to say about Burks playing hurt, he did what he was supposed to do. His man is 15 yards down the field and totally out of the play. So the idea of, well, it's 10 versus 11, no, it's not, because Burks' man is with Burks. So don't get caught up in blaming Burks here. Burks is hurt. He limps 15 yards down the field. Tannehill has a clean pocket. He's got 3 seconds, which is the average amount of time a quarterback has in the pocket before the rush gets there. Tannehill does end up running on this play. He's short of the marker on 3rd and 5. Tyquan Lewis for Indianapolis loops on PT, and he has no idea Petit Ferrer has no idea what he's doing there. But as Tannehill's in the pocket, running right across the middle of the field, 5 yards in front of him, right at the first down sticks, are both Dontrell Hilliard and Nick Westbrook-Akine. All Tannehill has to do is just boop, drop it, and it's a first down. Instead, for whatever reason, I don't know why, Tannehill takes off with the football and is tackled short of the marker. Quarterback error. And don't give me this Treylon Burks thing, because, again, Treylon Burks took his man hopping on 1 foot. It's crazy.
But I think it was the fact, too, that Treylon Burks didn't go down to stop the clock.
Wouldn't have made a difference on that play, though.
But it would have made a difference with the rest of the drive. They needed every second that they had.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered on the drive. The drive ended because they didn't get a first down.
Not stopping the clock?
No. You're thinking of the first half. This is the play where he got hurt.
Okay.
So this is the play where he got hurt. That didn't matter. All right, here you go. This is another Tannehill error. Titans got the jumbo package, 8 in the box, single high safety. Gilmore is man-to-man with Westbrook-Akine. And Indy brings down a 9th defender into the box. Tannehill play-action fake to Derrick Henry, and he throws it to Henry, who gains 8. But Nick Westbrook-Akine is standing 25 yards down the field just looking for the ball. 25 yards down the field, he's wide open. He's wide open. And if he throws him the ball, then it would have been Westbrook-Akine versus a safety for the touchdown. Because Stephon Gilmore, for whatever reason, decided to leave Westbrook-Akine and go cover and double-team Jeff Swain. I don't know why Stephon Gilmore thought that was a good idea, but he did, and Westbrook-Akine was wide open, and Tannehill just didn't look. Quarterback error on that one. Another one, they had 7 in the box. Derrick Henry gains 4, but it could have been a lot more if Nate Davis had made his block. He missed it. Nate Davis error. The one where they tackled Henry in the backfield, both Petit Ferrer and Chigakonkwo were beat on the snap. Like a turnstile. You know, when you hear someone say, oh, he's a turnstile right there. Mm-hmm. Those two got turnstiled by Indianapolis. Odangbo tackles Henry in the backfield. And then this one got me. 3rd down Tannehill sack where it's a touchdown to Dontrell Hilliard. It's a touchdown. Robert Woods runs right past Stephon Gilmore. By the way, let me say this. Watching this tape, Stephon Gilmore stinks. He cannot run anymore. But I digress. Woods runs right by him. They're in a single high safety look. The safety goes over to keep Robert Woods from running by everybody for a touchdown. Dontrell Hilliard is leaking out over the middle of the field, and there is nobody on the left side of the field. And if Tannehill drops it off, all he's got to do is turn it upfield, and it's a touchdown. Instead, Petit Ferrer doesn't understand that DeForest Buckner's looping around. He double-teams Kwity Paye. Then in the middle of the double-team, he disengages the double-team. Nate Davis doesn't expect it. Kwity Paye sacks Tannehill. Buckner and Paye got there at the same time. Petit Ferrer just didn't know what he was doing. Cost Titans a touchdown. So that was Nicholas Petit Ferrer's error. On the next play of the first play of the next drive, the Titans are in an I formation. Carter's in the game. Swaim could have gotten called for holding, but he doesn't. And Petit Ferrer takes a bad angle on the linebacker. The linebacker gets over the top of him, tackles Derrick Henry. That's on Petit Ferrer. And then the Titans actually ran a play in the last series where everybody, good block Nate Davis, good block Ben Jones, great block Petit Ferrer, good block Chigakonkwo, and Derrick Henry tripped on Nate Davis's foot. And it would have ended the game because he would have gotten a first down. And the Titans would have then gone to the victory formation and wouldn't have had to use the Okonkwo play. But he tripped on Nate Davis's foot. You notice that a lot of that doesn't have to do with Todd Downing.
Almost all of it doesn't have to do with Todd Downing.
Now you see why I'm saying, like, you know, people are going to be like, one series where they didn't punt. And it's like, right. But it's not the coordinator's fault. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. I know. I probably bored most of you with all of that. I don't know how you felt about it, but we'll get into your phones on it. And again, to me, the big thing with this was Tannehill. And I cannot explain it. I cannot tell you what it is. I can only tell you what I think it is. And I do have a theory on that. 615-737-1025. But I do owe Vrabel an apology. which we'll get to that coming up. 615-737-1025 here on the program. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, I'm Ryan Johansson, and this is Smashville.
Back to Johansson, and Johansson tips it in with one hand on the stick.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
October is coming, and hockey season is back in Smashville. The 2022-23 Pred season brings energy, excitement, and the loudest fans in hockey. But the question is, are you ready? Be there for the home opener on October 13th to cheer on your Predators as they face the Dallas Stars at Bridgestone Arena. Tickets available now at NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Get your tickets and mark your calendar. Welcome back, Smashville. Let's go, Preds.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
There's no place like the #1 sports bar to finish out baseball season. Which team are you batting for? Twin Peaks in Cool Springs. Made from scratch food, signature 29-degree draft beers, and all the scenic views.
Have you seen the selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches they now have at Genesis Diamonds? If not, prepare to be amazed.
If people really know the watch world, they come in and they're in shock. They're like, I cannot believe you have this selection here. They're able to see them, touch them, feel them.
Meet Genesis watch expert Charlie Rivers, who says over the past few years, Genesis buyers have scoured the world to build a collection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes, including all the hard-to-find models.
Daytonas, Pandas, Sky Dwellers, a huge selection of Submariners, Hulks, Kermits, anything that you could ever possibly want. We have every luxury pre-owned Rolex that we have here. We ensure that it's in pristine condition.
So come in today and find the timepiece of your dreams at Genesis. Or if you already own a Rolex and are looking to trade for a different model or even sell it, Genesis can help you get top dollar.
If you have a Rolex, definitely bring it in. I would love to see it and do a complimentary evaluation on it and see what we can do for you.
Genesis Diamonds, now with one of the largest selections of luxury pre-owned Rolexes in America. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Are you getting hit hard with higher costs and higher interest rates? Is your credit card rate going up every month? Hey, Willie Donick, how'd you like to wipe out those credit cards before the holidays? Call Loan Pronto. Your home equity can rescue you right now. Your home's value is still way up, and there's a ton of cash that you can get. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost cash-out home refis. Get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off credit cards and consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut around $800 from their monthly budget. And even if your home mortgage rate goes up a little bit, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. When rates come back down, Loan Pronto will refinance you again for free. Call Loan Pronto. Do it now. You can even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments, so the first payment is not until spring of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
On the Wednesday edition of Chase, Willie, and D. Mace, we'll talk to Jonathan Hutton, Outkick 360 at noon, as we look ahead to the Titans taking on the Commanders this weekend. Plus, the Predators are in Prague for the Global Series against San Jose. The fun begins at 10 here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, Nashville, Trey Wingo here. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Obviously, you like the wins, but after the quarter point of the season, how do you like your team's trajectory at this point as far as improvement?
Well, this would be a huge week for us. We can't look ahead. We have to focus on, going into Washington and preparing this week and finding out who's available. I was, excited to be able to go on the road in the division and win a football game. It's tough, and we understand that. So, we're going to focus on the things that we did well. There's plenty of things that we need to fix, and we will. And we'll focus on them at practice, and then have the best, give our guys the best plan to go to Washington to give themselves a chance to win.
There we go. That was Vrabel. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. I don't know if I bored everybody in that first hour talking about the offensive problems, but Todd Downing, in my opinion, was not. What do we have?
We have some texters that liked the breakdown, but Josh texts in and says, so what do you think about now with the comments of Downing mentioning about the execution, which you alluded to by saying he's blaming the players?
So, let me say this. What he was talking about with the Raider game does not have anything to do, in my opinion, with the Colts game. So when I'm telling you that Todd Downing did a good job on Sunday against the Colts, even in the second half, because, again, I didn't watch the first half. So I'm making an assumption that Todd Downing did a good job in the first half against the Colts, but I don't know that because I didn't watch the coach's tape on that. I'm telling you he did a good job in the second half. That's all I'm talking about. You know why it didn't work out against the Raiders in the second half? I mean, I can go back and watch every single one of those plays and then have a different opinion on it. But that would not be an informed take. And I knew that I was going to get some of that. I knew I was going to get, when I said that this game wasn't Downing's fault, I was going to get well, what did you say last week, Jared? And it's like, that's a different game. That's not the same game as this game. I just want everybody to know that.
And it would be easy to say, since we're seeing a similar trend, a la second half issues.
To lump it all together.
To put it all together.
Sure.
Fred in Ashland City texts in and says, sounds like Ryan Tannehill is afraid to throw it deep and make a mistake late in the game.
I do think that may be part of it. I do think that may be part of it. That Ryan Tannehill didn't want to take those chances because they were there. And Vrabel even mentioned it yesterday. Steve Lehman asked him a question about how Tannehill's had all this success against the Colts. And Vrabel talked about how there were some throws down the field that they felt like they didn't take.
Yeah.
And it's almost like when I heard it in live time, I didn't really think much of it. But then when I heard it after I watched the tape and I saw Westbrook Akine and I saw Woods and I saw Burks and I saw those guys just standing there, and Hilliard, and I was like, now I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
615-737-1025. We're right back to your phones. Short segment because, we went long breaking down the film. But we're right back to them next. 615-737-1025 here on the program. Stillman and Company. This week's Nashville's best deal is Slingshot Me of Music City. Experience a whole new Nashville with a Polaris Swing Shot rental. Let the amazing views take your breath away as the views and sights have never before seen in an open-aired auto cycle. Get a 4-hour rental for only $115 at theGameNashville.com/deals.
Let's put the green flag in the air and turn them loose.
Nashville's home for NASCAR.
He's going to try to make a big move here.
It's brought to you by the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. We are your racing station.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Forecast for today putting us into the mid to upper 70s. A little breezy at times, loaded with sunshine the entire day. Still keeping away any rain chances until into and out of the weekend, but could see some frost on Saturday.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Attention sports fans, your favorite sportbook, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%. BetUS offer their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their dealers are waiting for you at the table. You need a sportbook with integrity and longevity. You need to know that you will get paid. You need a sportbook that offer everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horse racing, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gets better bonuses than BetUS. Join now, mention 1025, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the games begin.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra results vary.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Guys, want an effective, affordable way to get ED medication 100% online? Whether you're looking for Viagra or Cialis, or generic medications as effective as Viagra but 90% cheaper, you can find it all through Hims. Hims is your go-to for doctor-trusted treatments to help you treat ED. Get ED treatment for as low as $3 per use and save up to $1,000 per month with generic for Viagra versus the brand name at 4hims.com/radio. If prescribed, your medication will be shipped to your door in discreet packaging. Do it all online. No in-person appointments. Get hard results with Hims or your money back. Go to 4hims.com/radio to get your first visit free. That's 4hims.com/radio to get started free. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Chase McCabe.
You get a little fired up for that. Pads start popping.
Willie Donick.
And you're just thinking, this guy's unbelievable.
And Derek Mason.
Now I got to run a little bit faster so I don't get hit.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Hey, join Michelle Knezovic this Saturday at Broadway Brewhouse downtown at 317 Broadway for the SEC Game of the Week presented by BettingHero.com. They're going to help you enjoy your betting experience on mobile and maybe even buy you a beer. Fun starts at 2:30 on Saturday for Auburn and Georgia. Let's go right to your phones as promised. Here on the Titans' second half woes against the Colts, what do we have?
SD in Franklin texts in and says, I believe Vrabel and company would figure out second half issues eventually. You talked about offensive mistakes, but I'm curious to know your thoughts on how the tackling has become a serious problem for a Vrabel coach team this year, and if you believe the offensive line as a whole has made positive strides through 4 weeks.
Yes, I do. The second part, I think it's pretty obvious. There was one play in particular late in the game. Like, there were multiple runs where Indy knew what was coming. And I've always said this about a running team, is that if a running team can say, hey, we're running it, and still effectively block, that I believe that that's a big step in the right direction. I think
that's also what makes you a running team.
I think Derrick Henry's success is, and we look at the first couple of weeks, and it's like, does he have that burst? I don't know if he has that burst or not. I think what's happened is, because the offensive line doesn't practice, because they can't practice, that games are their practice, and they're starting to get better. Even Swaim is starting to become a better blocker. Carter had a couple of good blocks where I wrote in the notes, good block Carter, and that was just in the second half without looking at the first half. I think the run game is becoming much, much, much more effective. The question about Titans tackling, anybody have a problem with the tackling?
I never noticed that being an issue. I mean, there was the Zach Cunningham missed tackle in the
This
Bills
week it
game.
was good. I thought
This week I thought was fine.
Yeah, Long Jr. and the linebackers I thought tackled very well.
Yeah.
So Long Jr. missed one in the backfield. Autry missed one in the backfield. And I believe there was one ball over the middle to Alley Cox where Kalu and Farley both missed on him. So that's a couple of them. And the ones where what's funny is the only time Jonathan Taylor got any kind of good run was when Long Jr. missed a tackle in the backfield and Autry missed that tackle in the backfield. And I laugh at it because it's like the Titans dominated their offensive line so much that the only way Jonathan Taylor got any room to run was by guys missing a tackle.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah, I thought David Long Jr. had himself a day.
I thought David Long Jr. played
too.
well. Boy, David Long Jr. almost had a freaking pick. You know, the one where he jumped in front of the running back.
Yeah.
And he dove down and almost, that would have been freaking nasty. I thought the defense played fine. I think the offense is going to have to help the defense out. The defense cannot play 34 minutes like they did, I believe, against the Colts. In fact, I have it right in front of me right here. They can't play. It was something absurd in the second half, like 18 minutes time of possession. They can't do that and expect to win. I'm trying to see where I have it in here. They played a total of the final stats in front of me. Time of possession, Indianapolis won the time of possession in the second half, 18:59 to 12:04. So 19-12. Like, that is not going to work as far as time of possession is concerned, and time of possession for the game, 34-26. Titans defense can't be on the field, especially without Dupree. They cannot be on the field for 34 minutes. Cannot ask that defense to be out there. When their strength is defensive line and the big boys get tired, cannot ask them to be out there for 34 minutes. What's next?
Another texter checks in and says, I think we need to design more plays for Hilliard.
I mean, if you design more plays for Hilliard, then two things now happen. The first one is obvious. Derek's out of the game.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The best player on the team, the offensive weapon, Derrick Henry's out of the game. So that's the first mistake that gets made if you decide to design more plays for Hilliard. Number two, now you're taking somebody out. Knows what you're doing when Hilliard's on the field. So while it'd be nice to do that, and I think Hilliard's a good player, and I was thinking about, has Hilliard gotten enough touches? Or, while I've thought about that, I think the reality is they really would like to keep Dontrell Hilliard off the field because that means more running with Derrick Henry on it. And, we can't criticize the Colts for feeling like, we have to get Nyheim Hines more involved and take the ball out of Jonathan Taylor's hands and then want the Titans to do the same thing. Plus, not only that, as I mentioned earlier when breaking down the film, if Kwity Paye and DeForest Buckner don't run a loop on Nicholas Petit-Frere, or if Nicholas Petit-Frere recognizes it and stays home and blocks his man, which should have been Buckner, instead of double-teaming Paye, then Ryan Tannehill drops a ball off over the middle for Hilliard, who cuts it up and probably scores a touchdown. So that probably would have been designing a play for Hilliard anyways, in which he would have scored a touchdown because Stephon Gilmore got freaking dusted by Robert Woods. And let me say this, too, about Gilmore. Because I know all the Colts people. I know Buckner and Shaq Leonard and Gilmore and Ngakoue, and it's like an all-star team. I know. Stephon Gilmore, I would not give him more than $1 million to be on my team. He cannot run anymore. He literally cannot run. He got called for a defensive hold on the first play of a series, and Mark Schlereth was on TV. And Schlereth was like, I think that was kind of a weak hold. Well, the previous pass play that ended the drive before that, Gilmore was holding the crap out of Westbrook-Ikhine. My guess is the Titans probably were all over the referees about, hey, watch his hands. He keeps holding. He was holding Westbrook-Ikhine on the one down. He was holding 15. Watch his hands. And my guess is the referee probably went over to Gilmore and said, hey, cut it out. Mm-hmm. Gilmore put his hands on Woods. Flag comes out. I mean, if he doesn't hold, he can't run. He needs to move to safety. I watched enough plays of Stephon Gilmore on the tape in the second half yesterday where Woods cooked him, where Westbrook-Ikhine cooked him, and I think we all know those guys aren't Olympic track athletes. It ain't Tyreek Hill over there. I mean, he cannot run anymore. We talked about last week, Juju Smith-Schuster, who's a couple of biscuits short of being an offensive lineman, freaking ran down the field on him. He cannot run anymore.
And I do remember when the Colts signed Stephon Gilmore, everyone was freaking out about it.
Oh, it was a total, he's Super Bowl. Here they come. 615-737-1025. I know what Ryan Tannehill did yesterday. I don't know why, Sunday. I don't know why he did it. But I have a theory. We'll get to that next. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. I love the FanDuel Sportsbook app, and football season is underway. So now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up with the promo code JGM when you sign up for FanDuel. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props and more. You can combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. Get paid your winnings fast with FanDuel, all in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up with the promo code JGM for your no-sweat bet. That's promo code JGM, and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only, and refund is issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
You love the game.
Tennessee touchdown! Middle Tennessee gets the score.
We live the game.
Just work on the little things every day.
They think the coaches are just coaches.
We are.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome Game 7.
What a stop made by UC Sarah.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
Fall is finally here, and you know what that means. The Nashville Oktoberfest in Germantown. With VIP tickets, you have all-day access to a dedicated private bar, unlimited Bavarian fare and drinks, luxury bathrooms, and a beer and whiskey tasting. It's first-class accommodations to enjoy the festival in style. Grab your Oktoberfest VIP tickets at thenashvilleoktoberfest.com. The Nashville Oktoberfest 2022, Thursday, October 6th through Sunday, October 9th at Bicentennial Mall in Germantown. Prost, y'all!
When joint pains cause you to sit out on everyday activities, it's time to make an appointment with Dr. Matthew Beal at Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Dr. Beal can diagnose your problem and treat the joint pain for both surgical and non-surgical matters. Board certified and fellowship trained, Dr. Beal specializes in hip, knee, joint replacement, and adult joint reconstruction. Visit tn.houston.com to learn more about Dr. Beal and to book an appointment online. Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
Come out Saturday, October 15th to support Stars by running, walking, or boogieing. The Nashville Striders 22nd Annual Shelby Bottoms Boogie 15K and 5K Run Walk, or you can show your support and participate virtually. More information at starsnashville.org.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome Game 7.
Flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Stone & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3. The Game streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. So I watched all of the second half tape of the Titans offensively against the Colts yesterday. And so I can tell you what happened. I can't tell you why it happened. Neil Tyson deGrasse, you know, the what is he, an astrologist, I think? Neil Tyson DeGrasse one time said
idea.
he was asked about the formation of the universe. And he said, I can tell you how it happened. I can't tell you why it happened. And I always thought that was pretty interesting. He can tell you about the formation of volcanic rocks and the heat and expansion of the universe and everything else. But he can't tell you why.
And that's what everybody wants to know.
Everybody wants to know why.
Is why.
So the reason why the Titans offense struggled, in my opinion, so mightily in the second half against Indianapolis was in large part an inexperienced right tackle and Ryan Tannehill's struggles. Now, we know the right tackle's inexperienced. That's nothing new. We know the right tackle was a third-round pick and that normally if guys are good enough to start right away, they get drafted in the first round, and that's going to be so. We know that. Treylon Burks, and again, it didn't hurt them because the mistake on that play came from Tannehill, not from Burks. The actual costly mistake came from Tannehill, not Burks. But Treylon Burks should know better than to try to get up and play when he's hurt. But he's a rookie. Tannehill's not. Been in the NFL for 10 years. And I can't tell you why Ryan Tannehill, in my opinion, was the reason why the team struggled in the second half. All I can tell you is that he threw a bad ball to Kyle Phillips off of his back foot that was short on a third down. He had two missed plays where guys were open down the field. He had one illegal shift. He had one where he didn't set his feet before he went to throw. He had one that could have been his fault. It could have been a play design. Ryan Tannehill did not play well for the Titans in the second half against Indianapolis, which is crazy because Ryan Tannehill was electric in the first half. Ryan Tannehill, 15 of 12, 103, 2 touchdowns, and a 134.9 quarterback rating in the first half. Ryan Tannehill, again, 103 yards in the first half, which puts him right on pace for those 200 yards that we say, hey, 200, 220, something like that. Ryan Tannehill finished with 137. He threw for 34 yards in the second half. And again, missed guys open down the field. We talked about missing Burks. He missed Woods. He missed Westbrook-Akine and Hilliard right at the sticks on a first down, or on a third down that would have been a first down. But now I'm going to venture into the thing that I don't know if this is right or not. I'm being completely honest with you. This is my opinion as to why Ryan Tannehill played so poorly in the second half. Why Ryan Tannehill's decision-making was so questionable in the second half. Remember what happened to him when he threw that first interception against the Bengals in the playoffs last year?
He was different after that.
Something that I loved about Tannehill that Marcus really struggled with when he was the starter and then Tannehill came in and he really didn't play like this in 2019 was Tannehill throw an interception and then he'd come right back out and he didn't look phased at all whatsoever.
Short-term memory.
Tannehill throws the interception against the Bengals to start the game, and it is tight butt syndrome the whole rest of the game for Tannehill, and I think it hurt him, and I think ultimately that's why he had the game that he had. Ryan Tannehill was electric in the first half until the very end of the first half. I was so disheartened by what happened at the end of the first half from Ryan Tannehill. I was so disappointed in Ryan Tannehill. Been a starting quarterback in the NFL since 2012. He knows better than to run in the middle of the field with 19 seconds on third down and no timeouts. He knows better than that. Everybody knows better than that. High school quarterbacks know better than that. And Ryan Tannehill knows he knows better than that. And I wonder if that mistake that he made at halftime, if that stewed with him throughout the entire intermission and led to his decision-making in the second half. And what really, really opened my eyes to this idea was after the game, like we can all agree Tannehill messed up, right?
Yeah.
Like it was Tannehill's fault. There's no gray area about whose fault it was that the Titans didn't kick a field goal before the half, right?
I think that's fair.
I mean, it's not even blame pie. It's not even like, well, Burks didn't get out of bounds on the play before that. And
well,
Vrabel
who's in charge of the clock?
Tannehill.
The quarterback.
The ball is in Tannehill's hands, regardless of when they called that timeout or the fact that Burks didn't get out of bounds and they had to call the third timeout. Like, the ball was snapped with 19 seconds to go, and Ryan Tannehill is the one with the ball in his hands. Ryan Tannehill knows he has to throw the ball away. So I think we can all agree that Ryan Tannehill knows he can't run, be short, not clock it, because it's fourth down. Like, he knows better than that. So it's not Vrabel's fault. It's not Downing's fault. It's not Burks' fault. It's not my fault. It's Tannehill's fault. We can all agree. Tannehill asked after the game. Remember when Tannehill blew the Bengals game? And he knew he blew the Bengals game.
Oh, yeah, he knew it.
And I knew he blew the Bengals game. And you know he blew the Bengals game. And we all know he blew the Bengals game. And remember how Tannehill refused to take responsibility for blowing the Bengals game?
He kept using we and us and our, never me.
Tannehill asked after the game about what happened at halftime.
Final sequence, Ryan. You guys are trying to get points at the end of the first half.
Oh, we got stopped short there, got into a situation where we run the field goal on, and I don't know exactly what happened there, but we weren't able to get it on in time.
The exact same as the Bengals game.
We weren't able to get it on in time.
Yeah, you know, I don't really know what happened there. Yes, you do. And I love Tannehill. I do. I think he's a great guy. I really do. Like, I'm sure that I will never become friends with Ryan Tannehill. I'm not overly concerned about that. But he is a guy that I could see myself wanting to be friends with. He seems like a great guy, a great teammate, somebody who I would assume is always there for you, just a nice guy, just a great guy. But for some reason, when he screws something up, he has a really hard time admitting it. And I don't know what it is, because people like me, like, I screw things up all the time. It's very easy for me. I'd rather just move on with it.
Mm-hmm.
And just say, yeah, I screwed that up. And move on to the
That's
next.
on me, my bad.
Move on.
We're going to Washington.
And so I can't, I don't know what it is about Tannehill that massive screw-ups like blunders, he really has a hard time taking the blame for. But the only thing I can tell you, this is just my opinion, and it is not rooted. Like, I can tell you that Tannehill missed Hilliard and missed Westbrook-Akine over the middle on that third down. Because I saw it. It's on the tape. It's there. He had a clean pocket. He didn't throw him the ball. I can tell you that he missed shots down the field to Woods and Westbrook-Akine, and I can tell it to you because it's on the tape. And Vrabel even said it yesterday. I can't tell you why the Ryan Tannehill that was spinning the ball like Drew Brees in the first half. I mean, that first half of Tannehill, that's as good as he gets. That is on fire, electric Tannehill. That's the Ryan Tannehill who had the efficiency of Joe Montana in 2019. Mm-hmm. That's who that was.
And that's what we've seen in the first half.
That's what we've seen in the first halves. And that's what we've seen from Tannehill pretty much the whole season. I mean, Tannehill's played great. That drive against the Giants to move them down the field to kick the field goal, just because they missed the field goal doesn't mean that it doesn't count that was a good drive from Tannehill.
Well, Tannehill's not the one that missed the field goal.
Has played great this season, in my opinion, except for the second half of the Colts game. I think it was the fact that he screwed up the end of the half.
That he just can't shake it?
And I think there are two things at play here. Number one, dude, you're going to have to move on. Like, as disappointed as I was in it, I'm still disappointed by that. You know, a guy makes a mistake, drops a ball, guy misses a field goal, okay. A 10-year NFL veteran who makes $30 million doesn't know how to operate the clock? A game manager doesn't know how to game manage, and it cost them 3 points right before the half in a game in which 3 points would have completely changed the entire outlook of that second half for Indianapolis? I mean, that is so disappointing. But you got to move on. Like, he's got to move on. The concerning factor is that he didn't move on. I truly believe. I don't think, and again, I didn't watch the first half to see what the Colts played defensively. I saw everything the second half was single high safety. I saw multiple times there were guys open and he didn't throw it. Quarterback errors. Breaking the huddle with 13 seconds. Demanding the ball from Ben Jones on a clap while Robert Woods is still in motion. That's an illegal shift every time. That's basic football. How? Tannehill's not stupid. So the only thing I can come up with is Tannehill could not get over what happened at the end of the first half. That's all I can come up with. And I'm going to say this, like, That can't happen anymore either. Like what happened at the end of the first half, that's not a team thing. That's a Tannehill thing. And I'm not going to sit here and, yell and scream about it. But, I mean, Ryan Tannehill's been playing this game for 10 years in the NFL. It was funny on Hard Knocks when it was like, I don't know any of the divisions. And Matt Moore asks him, who's in the NFC North? And he's like,
the Giants?
Giants. Like, it's funny then, but not knowing that with 19 seconds, you watch Tony Romo call games, and every time that he or Aikman, Tony Romo's like, they got to get to the line with 13 seconds to call a play. If they don't, they have to throw it to the outside, and they have to, Jim, oh my God, Jim, they have, because that's how quarterbacks have to think.
And I do think that is how Tannehill thinks. Tannehill knows how to manage a clock. He just didn't do it in that drive.
And I think he was so disappointed in himself for
that he couldn't get rid of it.
Second half.
Yeah.
615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Let me just say, that's a theory. I don't know the why of why Ryan Tannehill was so good in the first half and so bad in the second half, and the bad was on him. Some of that bad was on him. And I do owe an apology to Vrabel on this. I want to get to that next. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic every Saturday morning at 9.
I've got my extra large coffee.
As she talks about the big stories of the week.
Predators news, the Tennessee Titans.
And looks ahead to the weekend.
Oh, I'm so excited.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. Being arrested doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. Being served with custody paperwork doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. It may feel that way, but if you have Amanda J. Gentry representing you, you can feel confident that you're going to have the best quality representation in all of Middle Tennessee. Amanda J. Gentry goes wherever justice demands. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Attention sports fans, your favorite sportsbook BetUS.com is back for our 29th year of football action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com or call 1-800-79-BET-US and get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
Genesis is actually a new beginning.
Genesis Diamonds owner Boaz Ramon talking about why it's called Genesis.
I love the symbolism of the name. It's a new beginning.
Boaz wanted the name of his company to mean something, to reflect his core values and the importance of starting relationships for people in love, as well as the relationship he wants with each and every customer.
It's a new beginning in their life for the relationship between us, the jeweler, the Genesis Diamond, and the customer, and it should last forever. Everything we do is for the customer.
Walk into Genesis and you can feel it. Genuine people who are solely focused on celebrating the best moments of your life.
It's not only my passion, it's my culture. Genesis is the book where God created the world, the day and night, the man and the woman. Every diamond engagement ring that we specially created for the customer is a new beginning for amazing, lasting relationship.
Come start your amazing, lasting relationship today at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Golfers, now in Edwin Watts Golf Shops, it's time to hit faster, longer, and straighter with Titleist. The new TSR drivers are designed to maximize distance and elevate your performance. Titleist TSR driver, pushing for perfection every day. Come into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the new Titleist TSR drivers and get custom fit for free today. Can't make it in store? Visit us online at worldwidegolfshops.com. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee and family owned and operated since 1968.
Never miss a moment of the show.
What is this? Check it out.
Subscribe to the Stillman & Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman & Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
So it's 3rd and 1 coming up here. No timeouts for Tennessee remaining. So you got to be mindful of the sideline here.
Yeah. And this is what they've been doing, throwing it to the sideline, because that's not where they live, but that's where you have to live in these situations. So sideline routes, get out of bounds.
3rd and short, Tannehill maneuvering, gets hit, and is short of the first down, and that may take us to halftime. And if it's fourth down, you can't spike it. Field goal unit hustling to try to get on. They're not going to get this off.
No.
They weren't set regardless. A flag comes flying in. A lot of hectic moments here right at the end. They're not all set. That's why that flag was thrown. You saw Corey Levin hit the deck.
Prior to the ball being snapped, the offensive team was not set. That's a 5-yard penalty and a 10-second runoff and the end of the first half.
I still can't get over that. And that was totally Tannehill's fault. I mean, Ryan Tannehill knows better than that. And that I find to be disheartening, but I do feel like his disappointment in himself for that is why he missed guys open down the field in the second half. And again, just going through the notes about the guys he missed down the field. And this was, I owe Vrabel an apology, and I'll explain why in a second. But on one of the pass plays, Ryan Tannehill has guys open down the field. Colts show blitz. They bring 6 against a single high safety. And with that, Tannehill, that was the one where he threw the bad ball to Phillips, where he saw Phillips and he delivers the ball short and behind him, and he threw it off of his back foot when he had a clean pocket. And he probably should have made that throw. There's another one where against the jumbo package, he throws it short to Derrick Henry, who gains 8, but he's got number 15, Westbrook-Ikhine, wide open in the middle of the field. There's one where he throws it short to Derrick Henry, and he has time to throw it short to Derrick Henry, but he had guys open down the field. He had Woods open down the field. He had Burks open down the field. There's another on 3rd and 5 where he ended up running, and he was tackled, but he had Hilliard and Westbrook-Ikhine wide open at the sticks. The Titans had to punt. And Mike Vrabel was talking about this yesterday. He was asked by Steve Lehman about Tannehill being 4-0 against the Colts at the Colts. And listen to what Vrabel said. This isn't Vrabelese, in my opinion. This is Vrabel kind of confirming what was on the tape.
We were able to win the rushing battle. We were at a better passer rating, and we won the turnover margin. So that's the recipe for winning in this league, especially on the road. And we'll continue to find and make opportunities. I think that there were some things that we could have probably gotten, and been able to get the ball there. And we'll talk to Ryan about some of those things. But it was pretty, kept us out of harm's way, delivered some really, really good throws, was accurate and made good decisions. We just have to, I think there was a few down the field we probably could have had.
So Vrabel's telling you the same thing that I saw on the tape, which is he had guys open. He just didn't throw it. But then there's the dichotomy of what's the number one thing we say, hey, Ryan Tannehill, you have to do this every game no matter what.
Take care of the football.
Don't turn the ball over. So he didn't do that against the Colts, and they won the game. So it's like, I don't want to chastise Ryan Tannehill for doing the number one thing that we tell him. Whatever you do not turn the ball over. And he did not turn the ball over. And, in fact, he didn't even come close to turning the ball over on Sunday against the Colts. And yet, at the same time, he did miss open guys. And I just don't think this team can be successful if the quarterback on 3rd down keeps missing open guys.
And there's a difference between being risky and reckless. Tannehill trying to target a guy downfield who's totally open, maybe that's not necessarily risky, so to speak, but it's riskier than just dropping the ball off to Derrick Henry or holding on to the football. And there's a difference between that and being reckless or just making dumb decisions, which we've seen Tannehill do, especially last year. So,
But aren't they all somewhat considered the same? Like, for instance, one of the balls where I felt like he could have fitted in underneath the Westbrook-Ikhine, there was a safety above him. Now, he was about 10 yards away from Westbrook-Ikhine, but there was a safety above him. Now, Tannehill has a split second.
That's risky, not
to
reckless.
Decide, can I get that ball fast enough right to Westbrook-Ikhine before the safety can get there? Because if the answer is no, and he throws it, then it's like the Eli Apple interception in the Bengals game, where as Tannehill throws the ball to Westbrook-Ikhine, the DB hits him right there as the ball gets there. Ball pops in the air, and Eli Apple intercepts it. The Bengals win the game. And that's where, if Tannehill's number one mantra is no matter what, don't turn the ball over, I can see some of those, if that's what I'm beating into his head, like if I'm the coach and I'm beating into his head, don't turn it over, don't turn it over, don't turn it over, he is not going to want to throw it down the field unless he's got somebody wide open in which he trusts that There's not even a single high safety over there that could jump over and take it.
And that's the difficult dichotomy, because if you are jamming into his head, do not throw a pick, then he's going to miss a whole lot of wide open guys.
Now, when Hilliard and Westbrook-Akine are 5 yards in front of him on a 3rd and 5, and he's got a clean pocket, and they're standing in the middle of the field, that ball's got to come out. There's no excuse for that one. There is no excuse on that little drop-off. Like, there is no excuse not to hit one of those two guys.
At that point, not throwing the ball is being reckless.
But I think it all goes back to it. And we'll go back to that one play where the Titans threw it to Derrick Henry. And I said, look, it could have been the play, could have been to throw the ball to Derrick Henry, or it could have been the play to throw it down the field, and Tannehill panicked and threw it to Henry. But, again, 7 in the box, Gilmore man for man with Westbrook-Akine. And on the play, I mean, I do wonder, as they got the guys down the field wide open, and Henry was there against a linebacker, was the idea throw it to Henry and let Henry beat the linebacker and have the receivers clear out the defensive backs. So it's Derrick Henry versus a linebacker. You throw the ball to Derrick Henry. He makes the linebacker miss, and now here's Derrick Henry in space. And when Derrick Henry's in space, maybe somebody can get in front of him and take him down, but very rarely do people get in front of him and take him down. Or was it those guys are open down the field, but Tannehill's nervous about throwing the ball deep, so he checks it short to Henry? I don't know.
That's the question.
615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What do we have?
Ron texts in and says the Titans have only had one wide receiver in team history that was added to the team and was successful and was our number one receiver, and that's Nate Washington. Everybody else that we've added to this receiving core has been garbage.
So you know what's funny about that take exactly?
What?
Does it matter who the wide receivers are if the quarterback doesn't throw them the ball?
No.
So, like this morning, I was listening to the midday show, and they were talking about, do they need Corey Davis? Does this team need another wide receiver? And somebody at the gym today asked me, what do you think the Titans should go after Odell Beckham? And
oh boy,
I'm like, it doesn't matter. We can crap on Westbrook-Akine all we want to do, but if he's open and the quarterback won't throw him the ball, then does it matter if it's Odell Beckham and the quarterback won't throw him the ball? Does it matter if it's Jerry Rice and the quarterback won't throw him the ball?
No, you're just paying them more money.
And I'm just using this game as an example. Robert Woods. I thought Robert Woods and Westbrook-Akine played great football yesterday. And nobody's talking about it because Titans didn't throw the ball, for 500 yards, and they didn't catch it for 800 yards, and they didn't. But I thought both of them played really good football yesterday. And I was stunned. We were talking about Stephon Gilmore. Mm-hmm. I was stunned with the ease with those guys ran right by Stephon Gilmore. And how Stephon Gilmore had to hold, because he was getting blasted by those guys. And it didn't matter. So I get the text, the idea about, the receivers, they're no good, Jared. And again, drive 2, play 1, 8 in the box, play action. Tannehill has plenty of time. Everybody is open. These are my notes. Everybody is open. Woods is open 20 yards down the field. Burks is open 25 yards down the field. Tannehill throws the ball short to Derrick Henry. And then I write, unless the plan was to get it to Henry versus the linebacker, and Woods and Burks' job was to take the defensive backs with them. But they were open down the field. You guys can tell me these receivers are no good. Woods was open down the field. Just didn't throw the ball. And again, Vrabel said it. We saw things in which he could have thrown it down the field, and he didn't. Now, we're glad he didn't turn the ball over, but we need to get with him so that he takes those shots. So, no, it's not about the receivers, at least not in this game. And this is the hard part, because all I'm talking about when it comes to Tannehill's poor play and why he played poorly, or not why he played poorly, how he played poorly in the second half of the game, and why the offense was so bad, and why they didn't get a first down in the third quarter, and why they didn't score any points in the second half. The why they were so bad, I don't know. The how missing guys that are open, breaking the huddle with 13 seconds, throwing the ball off of his back foot short for Phillips. That is only applicable to this game. And so people will say, well, you're saying that Todd Downing is the greatest offensive coordinator because you went over his second half play calling and you decided, well, I actually have the percentage of how many good plays I think Todd Downing had yesterday in the second half. I think it will stun people, but that is only for this game. But I will get to that stat next because I was kind of surprised by it. 615-737-1025. Caroline, tell us about the Caesar Sportsbook Report.
It is time for the Caesar Sportsbook Report. Now, remember, if you haven't started with Caesars yet, your first bet, it's on Caesars, up to $1,250. Just download the app and use the promo code RADIOFULL, one word, RADIOFULL, and then wager. Bet your little heart out, and if you win, then congratulations. But if not, don't worry about it. You'll get that stake back as a free bet. Now, if you're looking for something to place that first bet on, there's an odds boost going on with Caesars. Today, the Cardinals, Braves, Brewers, and Phillies all win at plus 1,600 odds. Pretty good odds, worth your money. And if you don't like that one, then you can create your own parlay. Just do it with the Caesar Sportsbook app. Open to new users in Tennessee who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Must use within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesar Sportsbook. You bet, you get.
Henry making a cut inside the 5 and in for the touchdown.
The Titans go into Indy and get their first division win of the season to move back to 500.
Huge. Guys kept battling. I'm so proud of this football team, proud to coach them.
How can they build on their success?
We have to play better in the red zone defensively. We can't let guys run free.
Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk.
They're winning and their offense actually looks better.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
National Playmakers Academy with former Vols Buck Fitzgerald and James Stone, along with former Austin Peay Governor Vic Wright, offer one of the best football developmental organizations in the nation. MPA has over 30 NFL alumni, 800-plus college football scholarship signees, and 25 high school football All-Americans. If you have a student-athlete in middle school or high school that is looking for the best football training and college football recruiting help around, contact National Playmakers Academy today, 615-456-2680. Or email april.mpafootball@gmail.com.
Harman Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Harman Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industries. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harman team. Apply now at HarmanEnergy.com.
Like bones, your teeth lose density and become weaker over time, which can lead to tooth decay. And that can make your visit to the dentist feel like this. But if you want your dental visit to feel like this, try Crest Densify. Crest Densify actively rebuilds tooth density to extend the life of teeth by remineralizing enamel. Densify from Crest, the #1 toothpaste brand in America. Smile, Crest has you covered.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game, live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Henry lined up as an up back. They fake it to him. They throw it, and they get it to Okonkwo. First down, inbounds, timeout by Indianapolis, but that salts the game away, and the Titans will move to 500. What a play call, with Henry almost like a fullback there.
Yeah, he's right here, and Okonkwo is going to go right here. And you know what? This is the second time they put him in the backfield to get that man-to-man matchup, and you see him right there getting that first down and being smart enough, the rookie, wise enough not to go out of bounds.
I love the play call. You know, I knew they'd be all packed in there. Obviously, you know, if we were able to get a first down, then it was going to seal the game. So, you know, excited to hear that play call come in, and Chig did a great job of getting his depth, making himself available, and then getting down, staying in bounds, and into the game.
There you go. That was the play call that won it for him. And even if you're Todd Downing's biggest critic, you got to give Todd Downing credit for that play call.
Oh, for sure.
Now, when I watched the game back yesterday before we did the midday show, I, generally speaking, you know, if I think something's a good call, I'll write good call down. If I think something's a bad call, I'll write bad call down. And then if I don't know, what I'll do is I will highlight that play. And then when the coach's tape becomes available, I'll watch the sideline camera and the end zone camera, and I'll try to figure it out. One of these, I didn't know if it was a good play call or not. I sent it to one of the top college football analysts in America, and I was like, what's happening on this play? And, you know, so I can get a good sense of that. I try to, you know, I've sent it to coaches before and been like, hey, what do you make of this play? You know, trying to figure out what I don't know. And then trying to take that and fairly assess what happened on Sunday. Not the Skip Bayless thinks that LeBron James stinks no matter what, so no matter what LeBron does, Skip's going to find the negative in it. I do not believe in that. I do not believe in narratives. In the second half, when I watched the game on Sunday with my dad, watching the game like we always do, I thought, man, Todd Downing, this isn't working. Whatever it is in the first half that allows him to score all those points, I mean, he must stick his head in an icebox at halftime or something, because I don't know what the problem is here. I went back, looked at the plays, wrote it down, watched the coach's tape. I had one predictable call, a running play on the second series that was a bad predictable call where Grover Stewart pushed back Aaron Brewer. He only weighs 60 more pounds than him. Pushes back Aaron Brewer and makes the play in the backfield. That was the only one. Other than that, out of a possible 19 offensive snaps, I had 7 good offensive play calls. That's 35% in one half. The second half, where they didn't do much with the ball, 37% of the time, I thought Todd Downing had a good play call and that it didn't get executed. And I used the one play on third down where Tannehill got sacked as a perfect example of that. Because I know there are going to be people that when that happened, and maybe I felt this way on Sunday too. I can't remember how I felt in that particular instance. But Tannehill got sacked, and they probably threw their hands up and said, oh, Todd Downing, there he is again, and Downing screwing it up. And by my estimation, that play call, if Nicholas Petit-Ferrer sees DeForest Buckner on the loop, as opposed to trying to double-team Kwity Paye, if Nicholas Petit-Ferrer reads that properly, it's a touchdown to Dontrell Hilliard. I thought it was a great call. Robert Woods burns Stephon Gilmore. Safety goes over to help on Woods running down the field. Hilliard loops in underneath. It's a short little pitch and catch. Hilliard cuts upfield, and there is nobody on the left side of the field, and he will run with it all day. But Petit-Ferrer didn't make the right read, and Tannehill got sacked. 37%, 7-1 good play calls to bad play calls. I thought Todd Downing called a great game. I shouldn't say great game because I didn't scout the first half. I mean, they scored 24 points in the first half, so they must have done something.
I think
right.
it was fine.
They had, I mean, honestly, they had 27 points. Tannehill screwed up the play before the half. But 37% in the second half. I thought Todd Downing was great, and I think it's only the one thing I always say about this show. Well, fair. This is not agenda-driven. This is not, I hate that guy. I like this guy. This is going to sound crazy. I like David Poyle, the guy, fine. Guy needs to start making some better moves for the Predators. But this is a show about being fair. And I thought Downing was great in the second half. Regardless of whatever, the fact that the offense didn't score a point, I get that. But I thought Todd Downing was excellent.
And I think the crazy thing here, too, is last week against the Raiders, Todd Downing did not call a good second half. But Tannehill was fine in the second half.
Sure.
I thought he played a fine game. So that's the astonishing thing, is that there is a continued overall theme week after week after week, but the reason why, or the details of the second halves are completely different. Because if Tannehill was bad in every second half, it'd be much easier to diagnose.
I did not scout the Raiders second half like I scouted the Colts second half. So I can't speak to it like that. But as far as just the Colts second half, Downing was not the problem. 615-737-1025. Add that to the list. Let's go to your phones. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com.
Herb in Kentucky texts in and says lack of offense in the second half was also a problem. While they were great on first and second down against the run, they gave up numerous first downs on third and long passing, denying their own offense a chance to get back on the field.
So I think that the problem with that was that the defensive line got tired and that the defensive line was on the field for 35 minutes,
32 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was 34 minutes. They were on the field for the game. They were on the field for 19 minutes in the second half.
God.
I mean, you can't do that to them. They can't do that. And so here's the reality about the Titans' defensive line without Harold Landry and Bud Dupree. And this is where Shane Bowen deserves some credit. And Mike Vrabel, too, and everybody else. It's smoke and mirrors. Like, the Titans' defensive line has two legitimate NFL starters and a third guy who I think might be, and then good depth pieces. Simmons and Autry are legitimate above-average players. Tart might be. I do wonder, Tierre Tart's been on this team for a couple of years, and he's always been kind of a rotational defensive lineman, and he's gotten better as time's gone on, but I do wonder how much of Tierre Tart's success is like Jason Jones' success on the defensive line when he played next to Albert Hainsworth, because Tierre Tart does play next to Jeffrey Simmons, and Jeffrey Simmons was fantastic on Sunday against the Colts. And so was Autry, and so were those other guys. But as far as pass rushing, without Dupree in there, it is night and day difference. Bud Dupree's in there, first series of the game, sacked the quarterback, fumble recovered by Dupree. And I can't explain it because I'm a guy that truly doesn't buy into all the extra stuff about, this guy makes everybody better even though he doesn't get any sacks, which was the argument for Clowney for all those years. And yet, every time I see Bud Dupree exit the game, I see a completely different defense. And so, clearly, he's important. And clearly, they better get that hip figured out. Somebody call up Dr. Bird and get that figured out because they need Bud Dupree. But also, they were on the field too long. I thought defense played fine. I thought defense was fine. Defense, in all seriousness, I mean, if they don't force that fumble of Jonathan Taylor, it's probably a different ballgame. The way that the Colts were moving the ball. So outside of the fact that I think Farley's completely worthless, I think the Titans' defense is fine. I don't have any problem with the defense. Didn't have any problem with the defense Sunday. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says, I don't think it was David Long Jr. that stood out linebacker on Sunday. The first three games, it was evident our linebackers weren't playing up to par. The standout on Sunday was Dylan Cole stepping in for Zach Cunningham. Long Jr. has missed a ton of tackles in the first three games of the season. Jagon Brown was definitely missed. Dylan Cole with 8 tackles clearly was the bright spot at linebacker.
You mean until they benched him?
Yes.
But until they benched him and they put in Joe Schobert?
Yes.
David Long Jr. was fine. Let me just say this. Let me just get this out there. I do not value middle linebackers. And I love David Long Jr. And that doesn't mean that, to me, it's like, and this, I think this happens a lot, which is I say something like, I don't value middle linebackers, and then someone will say, well, what about Ray Lewis? And it's like, yes, the elite of the elite. Who's the best middle linebacker in the NFL right now? Roquan Smith?
I'd say he's up there. I mean,
okay, and how many games does his team win?
None.
Okay, so it's like middle linebacker, it's a different game because you can't hit anybody in the middle of the field anymore. So the idea of what it used to be with those Zach Thomases and those Ray Lewises and you want to throw the ball to the tight end over the middle of the field? Well, he's going to get decapitated. Can't do that anymore. So it's a different game. Now, those guys will still make a bunch of tackles because if there's a defensive lineman like Jeffrey Simmons, he's going to eat up blockers, and then the linebacker's going to be there to make the tackle. And some guys are better than other guys, but I would never use a first-round pick on a middle linebacker or high free agent dollars on a middle linebacker if I didn't know that he was a just absolute game-changing player, just like a running back. I don't mind paying Derrick Henry that kind of money, but I'm not paying the average good running back that kind of money because Philip Lindsay can run for 1,200 yards one year and then be on a practice squad the next year. And I just go get the next guy to go be the running back of my team. And I feel that way about guys in the secondary that aren't ball-hawking safeties. And I feel that way about middle linebackers. I think they are so dime a dozen in this league. And this week was a perfect example of that. Zach Cunningham, who hasn't even been that good, who makes $10 million or whatever it is he makes, he's out. Dylan Cole and Joe Schobert off the practice squad saved the day. I just don't find it to be a valuable position at all.
But it doesn't hurt when you have a good one.
No, but I wouldn't pay for it.
What is like the median salary of a middle linebacker in the NFL?
I don't know. I would not pay.
I have no idea.
So like David Long, so Amani Hooker's making $11 million, right? And that's like,
it's not chump change.
It's
but
not. It's high level starter money. It's not elite, but it's pretty good starter money. I would not pay David Long Jr. more than $7 million. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Yeah, $7 million. Like I would be like, hey, here's the Danico Autry 3-year, $21 million contract. Here you go. That's it. That's it. And because I can go get another middle linebacker.
Because you want to put your money into your pass rushers. That's the most important thing.
Not care. I do not care about anything other than the passing game and stopping the other team's passing game. And then I'll worry about other positions. Like I'll worry about box safety later. I'm not spending 2 first-round picks on Jamal Adams because he hits people. Like, I'm not doing that. 615-737-1025. Derrick Henry is going to tell you he doesn't care about this. I guarantee you not only he cares about it, but I think their entire team cares about it. We'll get to that coming up next. Right here, Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 2:45.
Sanders for the touchdown, 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joins Stillman and Company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Forecast for today putting us into the mid to upper 70s. A little breezy at times, loaded with sunshine the entire day. Still keeping away any rain chances until into and out of the weekend, but could see some frost on Saturday.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face truck today.
Attention sports fans, your favorite sportbook, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%. BetUS offer their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their dealers are waiting for you at the table. You need a sportbook with integrity and longevity. You need to know that you will get paid. You need a sportbook that offer everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horse racing, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gets better bonuses than BetUS. Join now, mention 1025, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the games begin.
The Electronic Express famous half-price fair is back and better than ever. This week, save up to 50% on all your favorite brands. Don't miss out on these record low prices. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. Computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 50% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks, the Southeast leader for crane and equipment rental, is looking for the best in the business to fill positions as qualified operators, truck drivers, and mechanics. Craneworks provides superior customer service and a superior work environment. Start lifting Nashville to new heights and apply today at craneworks.com/careers. That's craneworks.com/careers.
Teron Davenport here for Superbook Sports. Can you beat Vegas this football season? Superbook Sports gives you the chance every week to go head-to-head with the best odds makers in Las Vegas. No fancy computer algorithms. No guys across the pond setting lines for American sports. Just the best team of odds makers in the business behind the counter at the Superbook in Las Vegas. Plus, Superbook features some of the best odds boosts and promo bets anywhere. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com and start your battle against Vegas right now. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Informative.
They played a lot of power play time together back in the day.
Insightful.
It's a great addition to this team.
And just three guys being dudes.
On the sideline in shorts and a t-shirt. Hanging out, watching the game.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
No such thing as bad press.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
How good was it for you to get going your first 100 yards rushing?
I don't care about that. We won. Happy we were able to make plays on offense and do what we need to do to get the W.
Derrick Henry does not care about his first 100-yard performance on Sunday. It should be noted that Derrick Henry did go over the 100-yard mark. Derrick Henry, I thought, was absolutely fantastic, but then again, I think probably everybody thought that. Derrick Henry, 114 yards. Here was the more important thing. Jonathan Taylor, 42 yards. Now, the Titan players will never tell you that they care about that. Other than, we knew we had to stop the run, and we stopped the run, and we knew we needed to run the ball, and we ran the ball, and they will never tell you, we are so sick and tired of all of the bull crap last year about Jonathan Taylor is the best back in the league when we, and I'm talking about if I'm a member of the Titans, our guy broke his foot, but our guy was the best. Our guy was the best the year before that. Our guy was the best the year before that. Our guy is the best, and they just kick him to the side, and all they ever do is talk about how great Jonathan Taylor is, and our guy kicked Jonathan Taylor's ass. I guarantee you they're talking about that. I guarantee you that matters to them. And they will never tell you. They will never say it publicly because they don't operate like that, especially knowing that they're playing the Colts in 3 weeks. They don't operate like that. But I guarantee you there's a discussion about, you kicked that ass. After everything that they talked, Derek, you went out there and we and you kicked that ass on Sunday. Everybody just talking about Jonathan Taylor. He's so good. And there's no Derrick Henry's falling off and a foot injury. Oh, yeah, how about that? How they like that now?
But
in his building.
I really don't think that Derek cares.
Oh, I think they do.
I mean, the Titans,
maybe
there are some guys on that team that are like, yeah, Derek, you showed him.
I think Derek cares. Would you care?
Probably.
You're the best at what you do. You break your foot, and all of a sudden somebody else is now the best at what you do. because you broke your foot. Not because you fell off, not because they did anything you haven't done, but you broke your foot. And now you know you're just right back to where you were, and everybody's still talking about this new guy.
Yeah, I'd probably be pretty pissed off.
Okay, remember when I asked
I
Derrick
just think
Henry?
that Derrick is built different.
No.
Mentally
Remember,
and physically.
What did Derrick Henry say to me at training camp when I asked him if he wanted a reworked contract with the Titans?
Anybody would want a raise.
He looked at me and said, would you want a promotion at your job? Derrick Henry's a person, too. Just because Derrick Henry doesn't give anybody any fuel for anything, and this is why he'll never talk about it. You know, Derrick Henry is the lead by example guy. You know, Derrick's not going to tell TD that, TD says, you get your first 100-yard rushing game. Yeah, man, I was so desperate to get back to 100 yards. I haven't gotten 100 yards since October of last year. He's not going to say that. He's probably thinking it, but he's not going to say it. He's, I don't care about that. We won. We won. And Derrick is just like all of us, except he never, ever, ever talks about it. And I'll give you an example. 4 years ago, Derrick had been the backup for 2 years because DeMarco Murray was a starting running back. And we interviewed Nick Saban at SEC Media Days. And I asked Nick Saban, I said, Coach, Derrick Henry, is going to probably be the starter this year. How do you feel about that, knowing, obviously, that he played for him at Alabama? And Nick said, I've been talking to him about this for 2 years, and I've told him to be patient, and I've told him to wait his turn, and he is chomping at the bit, and I've talked to him for 2 years constantly about this. Derrick Henry never said a word to anybody in Nashville that would even give the slight, subtle hint that he was frustrated not being the starting running back behind DeMarco Murray. Never even gave it oxygen. Never even gave it a chance to be a story. And here's Nick Saban saying, I've been on the phone with him for 2 years telling him, hey, man, wait your turn. It'll come. Wait your turn.
Well, what was Derrick Henry going to say?
That's my point,
In
though.
a press conference, get up there and say, yeah, you know what, I'm pretty fed up with this organization for not giving me the ball because I'm the best running back in here, and you just don't know it.
When guys want the ball, they'll say some crazy things now. But Derrick's different. Just like, what's Derrick going to do? They're playing the Indianapolis Colts in 2 weeks? They play Washington, then they'll bye, then they play the Colts again. So they're playing the Indianapolis Colts in 2 weeks. You think Derrick's going to get up at the podium and say, boy, we made that guy look like he sucks?
No, but he didn't even say anything about himself. He didn't say, yeah, it was really great to get out there, best game of the season, so on and so forth. It was, we won, that's all that matters. He didn't want to entertain the question.
Right. He didn't say anything about himself. He didn't say anything about anything.
He never says anything.
Which is exactly what he does. But do you think in his own life he doesn't say anything about anything?
I don't know how Derrick Henry thinks.
Of course he doesn't. He's a real person. And because I'm telling you, I bet they're taking such joy in the fact that everybody said all this stuff about Jonathan Taylor, and he averaged 2.1 yards a crack.
Well, and Vrabel told you very, very loud and clear last week, we got to stop the run. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor. We got to stop Jonathan Taylor. He said Jonathan Taylor's name so many times in that coach's show, and you could tell that was the game plan going into it. Stop Jonathan Taylor.
That was the game plan because it gave him the best chance to win. As far as the personal stuff about Derrick Henry and how people kind of just glossed over Derrick Henry because he broke his foot and didn't play better in that Bengals game, that's more personal than, hey, we got to stop this guy. I'm telling you, that I'm sure Derrick probably took it personal, probably didn't make a big deal about it, but because I think that locker room has such respect for Derrick Henry, I think they took it personal too. And again, they will never tell you because the way that a buttoned-up organization is supposed to think is we don't want to celebrate right now because we don't know when we'll play these guys again. And even if they beat the Colts the second time, they will say, we don't know when we'll play these guys again. Even though it looks like the Colts are going down the toilet and might not be any good this year, that they'll say, hey, we do not know. 615-737-1025. Poor Traylon Burks, turf toe, which means he sprained the big toe, which is what turf toe is. He'll be out for a little bit. And I got to tell you, this is a really, really bad sign. And I'm going to tell you why, and people aren't going to like it, but we'll get to that next. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. Football season is underway, and so now is the perfect time to download the FanDuel Sportsbook app because it's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000. That's free bets if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up with the promo code JGM. FanDuel has all of your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props, and you can combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. With live betting, you'll get updated odds on games that have already started, and you'll get paid your winnings fast. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up with the promo code JGM for your no-sweat bet. That's promo code JGM to make every moment more with FanDuel this season, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. 21 and older and present, Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issue is non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
You love the game.
The door's on the board. Strike three. Sounds win.
We live the game.
Going up against that defense, he can make some plays and take that next step.
We got
pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome game 7.
What a stop made by Houston Sarah.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Hutton. Guys, do you need an annual health exam? I recommend going to Low T Center to get your complete health assessment. They will check all of your levels, not just your T level. In most cases, it's completely covered by your health insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for a full lab panel and an office visit with their medical provider to give you a complete health assessment. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy, even verifying your insurance. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
About 80% of new home buyers don't shop around for the best mortgage loan. That's a mistake. Hey, Willie Donick here for my friends at Loan Pronto. Not all mortgages are created equal. People who use Loan Pronto, on average, save $3,500 in closing costs. They get a better rate, which saves them thousands more every year. Your banker or agent's go-to lenders are fine people, but don't assume they're giving you the best deal. Call Loan Pronto for a quick second opinion or go to loanpronto.com. I'll bet you they can get you a better loan, lower rate, without all those annoying closing costs. And when rates drop, Loan Pronto will refinance you for free. No closing costs. Call to get pre-approved in minutes. They can even hook you up with a high-performing real estate agent if you need one. So call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. Or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne,
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman & Company.
Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman & Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Live in the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Traylon Burks has turf toe. So now we know what it was when he went down after catching a pass in I believe, the third quarter on Sunday's game against Indianapolis. Then he hopped on one foot for 15 yards, which was actually rather impressive.
That is pretty impressive.
When you watch the tape and you see the defensive back go with him as he hops on 1 foot 15 yards, it is rather impressive in a play in which Tannehill kind of screwed up. And then Burks gets carted off, and then he leaves the locker room in a boot, and he's got crutches with him, and we're told turf toe could be anywhere from like 2 to 8 weeks or something like that. But it's an injury, and the Titans are going to have to deal with it. And last night, it just kind of hit me. You know, Floyd used to have a saying that I didn't even know, but it sounds so like Floyd. But his son, Sean, got this made into a sign and put it in his office. And it says, mistake or misfortune, the result is the same. And I think we can all agree with kind of the premise of that, which is something bad happened to you.
Sorry.
Hate to break it to you, but
that's life.
It is what it is. One time I had gone through a breakup, and I didn't tell Floyd that I had gone through a breakup, but I was feeling rather uneasy about the breakup, and I said to him during a break one time, I said, Floyd, when you're in the NFL and something in your personal life bothers you, how do you let it not affect your job performance? And he looked at me and he said, I'd ask myself, feel bad right now? Lose 3 in a row. See how you feel then. And I was like, got it. Makes sense. Okay, that's
Noted.
how it is. Traylon Burks has been on the Titans for 5 months. Okay? He was drafted in April, May, June, July, August, September. 5 months. It's always something with Traylon Burks. It is always something. And again, he didn't try to have turf toe. It's not his fault. It is a misfortune. It is not his fault. Showing up to rookie minicamp out of shape, that's his fault.
If we know that's why he was, what was going on rookie minicamp?
Asthma, not his fault. But it is always something. It is always something. Go back to the draft process. People thought Traylon Burks was a top 10 pick in the draft. Then he runs a 4.55 at the combine. And everybody's like, well, you know, his combine speed, but watch him play on the tape against Arkansas or against Alabama when he was at Arkansas. You see now, Traylon Burks, And then Albert Breer reports Traylon Burks worked out for some of these teams, and his weight was in the 240 neighborhood. And this is a guy who needs to be about 220, and he was in the 240 neighborhood. Showed up to the combine at 225, ran a 4.55. Now he's showing up for these teams at 240. Then the Titans draft him. Then he can't make it through the first rookie minicamp practice. Then we had the commission in which we tried to figure out what it was that was wrong with Traylon Burks. Then they say it was asthma. Then he shows up to training camp in shape. All of a sudden, asthma's not a problem anymore once he shows up to training camp in shape. Then he keeps getting hurt in training camp, and he comes out of the middle of a preseason game, and at some point, this man needs to be on the football field. Then he's just kind of starting to get it going, and now he's got turf toe. And I hate to break it to you, but at some point, he's got to put it all together. There can't be any more excuse making. It just feels like over that 5-month period, it's always something with Traylon Burks. And I know some of it's not his fault. Some of it is, some of it isn't. But it is always something. And let me ask you all a question. In the 7 years that he's been a Titan, has it ever been something with Kevin Byard? Byard's missed a game here or there, but there's never a problem with Kevin Byard. Ever. Kevin Byard plays every Sunday. Kevin Byard is always where he's supposed to be. He never misses voluntary workouts. He never says anything he's not supposed to say. Kevin Byard, there's never a problem with Kevin Byard. There's never a problem with Derrick Henry, other than the one time he broke his foot 6 years into his career.
And those things happen.
There's never, even though he hasn't played great all the time, there's never a health issue with Ryan Tannehill. They can rely on that guy to be there. But then there are the guys where it's always something. And I think of receiver, and I think of this organization, and I think of Tyrone Calico. Because Tyrone Calico was taken in the second round in 2003. And talk to Derek about Tyrone Calico. Because Tyrone Calico had every tool in the toolbox to be a great receiver. He had every tool. He was tall. He was fast. Now, he did go through the drops his rookie year for a little bit, but he was like Steve McNair's go-to red zone target for the first half of that season. And then the next year, after the salary cap started to catch up with him, and Derek wasn't there anymore, and Justin McCarron's wasn't there anymore, and they put Tyrone Calico in the starting lineup, and Roy Williams horse-collared him on Monday Night Football, and that's why, in the preseason, and that's why that rule exists, that has taken the horse collar tackle out of the game, because he messed his knee up that game, and he was never the same. And he never became an NFL player because of it. And it is always something with Treylon Burks. It was always something with Isaiah Wilson. And there were excuses. You know, hey, look, man, it's COVID. He went to the TSU party. He got busted by the cops, and he thought about jumping off the balcony. But you know what? Boys will be boys. It's always something. And so this is my way of saying, like, for Treylon Burks, this team drafted him because, in all seriousness, I don't think they thought they could rely on A.J. Brown to be on the football field. Well, right now, I don't know if they can rely on Treylon Burks to be on the football field. And that's really disheartening. And so I'm not saying that this is that I'm giving up on Treylon Burks' career. But at some point, that it's always something has to stop. Because it is always something. Think about it. It's never anything with Danico Autry. It's never anything with Jeffrey Simmons. Taylor Lewan and Bud Dupree, it's always something. And that hurts the team. And with Burks, and like, think about it this way. Lewan won't be here next year. There's a really good chance Dupree won't be here next year unless he can get that hip figured out and get on the football field. And it's not because they're not good enough players, especially Dupree. He is a really, really good player. It's just, it's always something. It's always something. And that's how I feel about Treylon Burks right now.
And I go back to when the Titans did draft Treylon Burks, and I think a lot of people looked at it, honestly, myself included. I looked at Treylon Burks and I said, look, he's a younger, healthier, cheaper A.J. Brown. Two of those things are true. He is younger and cheaper than A.J. Brown. But the healthier aspect, I start to question. And that's exactly why I was so pro the AJ trade. Or I understood where the Titans were coming from was, look, you want too much money and you're just not reliable. Now, Treylon Burks doesn't have the money aspect of it, but being unreliable when there was a massive hole left when AJ Brown got traded. And he's responsible for filling that hole. And my biggest issue with AJ Brown, I think a lot of people's biggest issues with AJ Brown, unreliable. Couldn't stay healthy.
I think the biggest issue was the bitching.
Well, that too. But, I mean, I feel like they could deal with the bitching if A.J. Brown was on the field.
If he was reliable.
If he was reliable.
And
you can deal with a whole lot of bitching if you're at least on the field and you produce. And you can back up the talk.
I've said this about stars. In order to be a true star in sports, and they drafted Treylon Burks to be a star. I hate to break it to the boohoo crowd out there, and I'm sure they're flooding the text line right now. But Treylon Burks was drafted to be a star. In order to be a star, teams have to be able to trust you on the field, off the field, and to stay on the field. Mm-hmm. And right now, Burks is struggling with that. And so, you know, it's funny because all the excuses that we'll make for Burks right now about, you know, it's not his fault that he got hurt. It's not. Those are the same excuses that we made for Farley last year. The same excuses. The draft process, he didn't run a 40 time. Well, Burks ran a he ran a 4.55 40. That moved him. He is the sixth receiver taken in this draft because he ran a 4.55. Chris Olave, I think, ran a 4.2 something, and he skyrocketed because he ran that fast. And Burks fell because he ran that slow. And yet it was, oh, no, you don't understand. No. We were told that about Farley, too. And Farley can't run. And I think they've given up on him. Now, they're not going to give up on Burks. Burks has talent. But it's always something. It's always something. And I just don't think teams can win in the NFL when they've got star players or they're relying heavily on guys where it's always something. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Eddie George opines on the Traylon Burks injury. Now, Eddie's turf toe was legendary, but what Eddie had to say, we'll get to that and your phones coming up next. 615-737-1025. Stillman & Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
2, 3, 4, high school football is here. Join Big Joe Dubin every Friday night at 6 for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy.
Just a small sample of these great coaches in our area.
We'll go around the mid-state for scores and reports on all the big games.
If I'm a high school coach, I want the challenge.
The Game Blitz is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The world is a vampire.
Two of rock's biggest bands in a must-see monumental night. Spirits on Fire Tour. The Smashing Pumpkins. With very special guest, Jane's Addiction. This Monday, Bridgestone Arena. Spirits on Fire Tour. The Smashing Pumpkins with Jane's Addiction. And Poppy. On sale now. Buy tickets at livenation.com.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Football and Fireball is a match made in heaven. And by heaven, of course, we mean Twin Peaks. Spice things up next game day with a shot of our favorite cinnamon whiskey. Twin Peaks in Cool Springs. Made from scratch food, signature 29-degree draft beers, and all the scenic views.
How can a half-carat diamond magically grow into a 2-carat diamond? With Genesis Diamond's 110% diamond upgrade guarantee.
Our trade-up policy is the best in the United States.
That's Stasia at Genesis, explaining how if you buy a diamond today and want to trade it in for a bigger one next year, Genesis always gives you back your original purchase price plus an extra 10%.
We will gladly give you every single penny you paid for the diamond plus an extra 10%, which is amazing. No one does that.
As a real-life example, take Stasia's customer, Paul.
When he first started, he got a half-carat, and then as he became more successful, we rewarded him. He came in and he got a 3/4 carat, and then he's traded for a carat. I'm sure I'll see him this year for 1.5 carats. As they grow and change and become more successful, their engagement ring can grow with them also.
And there's no catch, no minimum trade-up requirement, and it works on diamond studs and diamond pendants as well.
You get every single investment dollar you put into the diamond, you will get an extra 10% towards the new diamond.
Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
You can trade as many times as you wish.
Continuously voted best jewelry store and best place to buy an engagement ring. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
October is here, and you know what that means. Nashville's annual Oktoberfest this Thursday through Sunday at Bicentennial Mall in Germantown. Bring the whole family for a weekend of competitions, local artisans, vendors, live music, incredible food, and authentic German beer. Prost, y'all!
Here's another remarkable success story from QC Kinetics. This one from Chad, who hurt his knee at the gym one day, and it just kept on hurting for months.
From my high school football and wrestling days, I already had a little bit of damage in there, but this just sent it over the edge.
Chad tried traditional treatments with no improvement when he turned to the non-surgical regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics.
It was really fascinating how they did their work, and the science behind it was very intriguing, and it works. Extracting the cure out of my own body blew my mind. It's like I'm brand new again. It was fantastic.
That's because the QC Kinetics natural biologic treatments use your body's own healing power to restore damaged tissue in your hips, shoulders, back, and knees, providing long-lasting relief.
Now I'm back at the gym. I'm 100%, feeling great.
If you're tired of suffering with pain from arthritis or injury, call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
It's on, it's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way, I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You're listening to
Any idea how long you'll be without Traylon, and do you have the bodies on the roster to replace him?
We do. I don't know how long
he'll be out. We'll continue to evaluate him this week and see where he's at.
Vrabel, yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Don't ask. Eddie George was on the Eddie George show last night, and he was talking about Traylon Burks' turf toe. Eddie George, of course, it was legendary when he had turf toe with the Titans. Really kind of.
Was it legendary?
Yeah, I mean, it was the beginning of the end of his career. And that was why it was such a big deal around here. Here's what he said yesterday after learning about the Traylon Burks news.
So how did you play through it, other than just bearing the pain, your pain threshold? Because you're planting and going.
I just.
Which foot was it? Your
it was
plant
my
foot?
right foot. It was my right foot. So everything was kind of. I could not power off of it. I just had to do.
They call a
one
lot
cut.
of left runs, or what did they do for you?
I ran to the right, and I had to. It was like a double cut I had to make.
Okay.
So it was like
a stutter step.
A stutter step, and try to get it, because I felt like if I couldn't play, it changed our offense, and I felt like we wanted to. That was our window to win a championship, and I had to do whatever it had to take to get it done.
Did it slow you down?
Oh yeah, it did.
See, I'm trying to gauge it from a wide receiver perspective.
Oh
now.
yeah, it's because you're doing a lot of planning and cutting and bursting and using your quick twitch muscles, and it's going to affect you that way. So for Burks, it's going to affect him, especially if you don't have a high threshold for pain. That's going to.
And we, every player is different. This stays. I mean, you need rest, right? You don't you didn't feel better until
you need to get. He'll probably get a shot in the toe to take down the swelling.
Okay.
And then
so that we could find out if he can play.
Yeah, he can find out. But that's a nasty injury because you're bearing a lot of weight on that one toe.
So there you go with that. 615-737-1025. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com.
Ricky texts in and says, did I miss something? This is literally Burks' only injury this season. One injury, horrible take.
No, again, all I'm saying is it's always something with Burks. And Traylon Burks got hurt in, I want to say, the Arizona preseason game, and then ended up coming back in the game. I want to say maybe it was a hip that he hurt in that game.
And then there was the calf thing.
He rolled up his ankle
at
a practice that I was at, and then he was, in and out and in and out and in and out. And then, of course, there was the weight and the asthma, and that's the whole definition of it's always something. And it's never something with Kevin Byard. It's never something. It's always something with certain guys, and this is a habit that Traylon Burks has to get out of, where he's been on the team for 5 months, and, again, it's always something. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says, the asthma thing was weird, but come on, this is a legit injury.
Again,
I'm not
so
denying
is
that.
Caleb Farley's torn ACL, but it doesn't mean, and his back.
And so is Taylor Lewan's torn ACL.
It doesn't mean that these things don't matter. That when I'm investing or when I'm choosing whether or not I can believe in you, it doesn't mean that, okay, well, I guess, everybody gets a pass for their injuries. I mean, mistake or misfortune, the results are the same. Traylon Burks has to be on the field. And if you want to be a star, the team has to be able to trust you on the field, off the field, and to stay on the field. And right now, Burks is struggling with that. And that's where you heard Eddie George talk about it right there, in which Eddie George, nobody, myself included, felt bad for Eddie George when he started to go downhill. And the discussions around here were all the same. Was he hurt? Was it too many carries? Was it the fact that Lorenzo Neal, his star fullback, wasn't there anymore? We had all the same discussions. And in the end, even though Eddie George was the leader of that team, and Eddie George started every game since the day he showed up for this team, guess what happened to Eddie George? They cut him. And he went to Dallas. Why? Because he wasn't running the same anymore. And it hurt the team. And when Eddie was gone, the Titans have been to the playoffs 4 out of 5 years with Eddie George. They cut Eddie George, and they don't go to the playoffs for 3 years. And that's, again, sucks that Eddie got hurt and had turf toe. It sucks, but it's reality. I mean, that is this sport. And so for Traylon Burks, if he's going to be this star player, he's got to figure out a way to stay on the field. I think it's only when people don't like the player who constantly gets hurt that then it's okay to talk about it. to say, well, Taylor Lewan, his tenure with the Titans is going to be over because Taylor Lewan can't stay on the field. And everybody understands that. And then talking about Burks and saying, hey, man, like, you got to get it figured out. And it's like, how dare you say that? Whereas, like, Caleb Farley, if I say, hey, man, I hate to break it to you. I know you hadn't played football in 3 years, but if you don't start playing better, they're going to deactivate you on Sundays. People don't feel bad for Farley right now.
Well, no, and also at the end of the day, whenever the scoreboard says a certain score, it doesn't say, here's the score and also asterisk. Their starting wide receiver was hurt.
Rookies are
or their
hurt.
starting corner tore his ACL and also had a robo back a couple years ago.
And stinks.
So it's an unfortunate reality that it just faces athletes. If you get hurt and you can't perform, it doesn't matter if it was a weird freak accident or not. It doesn't matter if it's not your fault or not.
Did you hear Vrabel talking about Farley?
When?
Yesterday. Oh, it was great. It was great. Ian, do we have that?
Maybe just give me a second.
Okay, because Vrabel, I love it because remember a couple months ago, Vrabel was like, Farley had a bad practice against Tampa Bay, and Vrabel was like, he just was so excited about the game or the practice with Tampa Bay that he didn't go to sleep because he couldn't sleep. He was so excited about it.
He
was so overworked up about it that he had a bad practice.
What kind of BS excuse is that?
Again, coming from Mike Vrabel.
Right.
This was Mike Vrabel yesterday when he was asked about Farley's performance on Sunday.
Farley hold up yesterday when he was inserted in there in coverage?
Well, I thought he improved. I thought there was, some good snaps and then some ones that, we'll continue to work on and improve. And but I thought he did a nice job when he was in there. It's a tough position to play. You're under the gun, and you're going to have to, be willing to make, have some balls caught on you, and then, being able to come back and make a play. And so, he had a pass break up, and then the next play they went down the field on him, and you just have to be ready for the ball every single time.
Are there times that in his coverage that maybe needs to be a little tighter and use his frame and length to be closer to the receiver on?
We'd like all our DBs to be as close to their receivers as possible.
He doesn't want to talk about it.
No.
It's just the generic, he had some good plays and some bad plays, and, yeah.
I always know when Vrabel defers to the most basic explanation of the game that he does not want to give any sort of nitty-gritty detail to what's going on, specifically with that player, or specifically with that player, that game.
By the way, Farley was not credited with a PBU, as he should not have been. Officially, according to the stats, he was not credited with a pass breakup on the ball that Matt Ryan threw out of bounds, and Farley got up into the incomplete motion after his receiver did not catch a ball that Matt Ryan threw out of bounds.
I love it when DBs do that. Like, if a ball is thrown 4 yards in front of you and the DBs do this, like, nope, not in my house. You did not do that.
Congratulations.
Sir, that was not you.
Brad's up next. Thank you for calling the program. What you got, Brad?
Yeah, so I'll start off with, I just can't wait till I turn on the TV and I see a defensive backfield that's got Hooker, Byard, Molden, Fulton, and McCreary. That will make me sleep better at night when I'm ready to see them, and hopefully it'll be soon. The other thing is, you had mentioned earlier that Dylan Cole was the fact, or you just looking at the fact that he wasn't in there at the end. And then the final thing that I was going to say is that I'm wondering if next week is a Vrabel special, but not the good one.
So I appreciate your call. Washington, Ron Rivera was cursing a bunch at his press conference, which makes me uncomfortable. I don't know anything about their team, but clearly they're bad, and their season may be on the line on Sunday, which will be something to at least keep in mind. The Dylan Cole thing, I hate to break it to the boo-hoo Dylan Cole crew, but I know he made a bunch of tackles, and that's great, but the coaching staff took him out of the game. So, when they take you out of the game and they put somebody else in, clearly you didn't do something that they like. I don't know what it was. I didn't watch tape on defense, so I can't tell you. But clearly it was something that they said, let's get Dylan Cole out of there. I think a lot of the things, and this is an assumption I'm making without watching the tape, I think a lot of things that the defense is able to do right now is predicated because of Jeffrey Simmons. That I feel like the defensive line, the guys that make plays on defense, are in large part because of Jeffrey Simmons doing that for them. Like Tart and some of those guys. Now, Tart's a good player, but I think some of that, like when the linebackers are getting into the backfield and tackling the running back, I think that has a lot to do with the push the defensive line's getting. And I think Jeffrey Simmons is probably getting double teamed on every play. So, I mean, again, it's an assumption. I'd have to look at the tape to feel confident in saying that, but I feel like Jeffrey Simmons is really carrying the entire defensive front right now. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Trevor Maddich will join us next. We'll get Trevor's thoughts on how a team can be so good in the first half and so bad in the second half, which is what the Titans are. And if he's ever experienced something like that, we'll do that coming up next. Be caller 5 right now at 615-737-1025, and you'll win a pair of tickets to see Andrew Dice Clay at the Ryman Auditorium on Sunday, January 29th. Good luck on that. TriStar Moving, that's my official movers. If you're going to be moving, you probably don't like the process, so you probably need to call somebody that'll take good care of you. And I know TriStar Moving will do that because 2 years ago, I moved with TriStar. It was fantastic. It's one of the best decisions I ever made, and they changed my entire outlook on moving because they made it so stress-free. They got a great sales staff. They got great management. Garrett and Robert, the guys who own TriStar, they're my friends, and they really care about being Nashville guys that are serving the Nashville community. TriStar has the brand-new utility vans to help with pack jobs, so they'll separate your high-value or fragile items from all the rest of your furniture so that your move is as safe and secure as possible. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry, and if you need to move, give them a call, 615-640-1219, or visit their website at nashvillemoving.org/radio, where they'll give you 10% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, nashvillemoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 10% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Friday afternoon.
Delivers a howitzer from the left point.
The Predators open their season with Game 1 against San Jose in Prague, Czech Republic.
It's a new experience, so I think it's something that you want to take advantage of.
Pre-game at noon. Face off at 1 on your home for Nashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics in White House offers world-class orthopedic care. This location on Sage Road specializes in general orthopedics, arthroscopic surgery, sports medicine, hip, knee, and shoulder. Get back to enjoying life sooner by scheduling your appointment at tn.houston.com. Houston Clinic Orthopedics in White House is conveniently located in the Crossroads Medical Group building. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Nashville's legendary racetrack, the Fairgrounds Speedway, features the Big Machine Vodka Spiked Cooler Super Truck Championship. Awesome racing action with the Pro Late Models 100, the Super Trucks, Limited Late Models, Street Stocks, Pure Stocks, Front Runners, Legends, and Bandoleros. Get your tickets today at NashvilleFairgroundsSpeedway.racing and experience local racing's best at Nashville's legendary track. Get your tickets today. That's NashvilleFairgroundsSpeedway.racing.
Employee onboarding?
Automated.
Customer support?
Automated.
What if you could automate all your company's routine operation tasks and do it easily?
Lead management.
Automated.
With Zapier, you can. Zapier is the leader in no-code automation. Connect over 5,000 apps, automate almost any workflow, and streamline your team's performance without hiring a developer and with no coding required. That's right. Zapier's templates make it simple for you to automate anything in minutes, no matter your level of expertise. Zapier eliminates routine tasks and frees your employees to focus on the bigger picture. And with Zapier's advanced security features and annual SOC 2 audits, your data is safe and secure. See why thousands of companies, including Slack, Salesforce, and HubSpot, trust Zapier to automate their businesses.
Even complex tasks?
Automated with Zapier.
Try Zapier for free today at zapier.com/radio. That's zapier.com/radio. Zapier.com/radio.
In today's economy, employers and employees should be working together to create safe, good-paying jobs with no unnecessary government overreach. Right to work does not belong in the state constitution. Tennesseans, this voting season, vote no on Amendment 1. Visit TennesseeWorkersAlliance.org, paid for by the Nashville Building Trades.
On the Wednesday edition of Chase, Willie, and D. Mays, we'll talk to Jonathan Hutton, Outkick 360 at noon, as we look ahead to the Titans taking on the Commanders this weekend. Plus, the Predators are in Prague for the Global Series against San Jose. The fun begins at 10 here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, Nashville, this is Paul Feinbaum, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Stillman and company, the Titans are 2-2, and yet they're the worst second-half team I have ever seen in my entire life. And just like the creation of the planet, the scientists can't tell you why, but they can tell you how. Against the Colts, I can tell you how the offense was so bad in the second half. I can't tell you why they were so bad. I can tell you that Ryan Tannehill missed wide-open receivers down the field. I can tell you that Nicholas Petit-Ferrer struggled in pass protection when he got looped on by DeForest Buckner. I can tell you, again, as we listed out after looking at the film, 4 mistakes in the second half from Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, 3 at least from Ryan Tannehill, 2 that could have been Tannehill problems, 2 from Derrick Henry, another one that could have been a Derrick Henry issue, 1 from Nate Davis, 1 on the play design, and in 17 plays, they had 12 errors. Well, that's why they weren't good in that game. Maybe the Raider game was a different story. Maybe the Bills game was a different story. Maybe the Giants game was a different. I can't tell you. All I know is the Titans scored a touchdown in the third quarter against the Giants, and they haven't scored in the second half since. Trevor Maddich joins us now in the program, ESPN college football analyst, presented by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports and Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. Trev, you played in the NFL. You've been watching football, covering football for a long, long time since then. Have you ever seen a team that is so dominant in the first half of the game and then so truly, truly inept in the second half?
No, this is kind of weird, because if they've got the ability to dominate, then they should have the ability to at least hold their own in the second half. But I can see why it's happening with this team, because they come out in the first half and they've game planned very well around their weaknesses. And, you know, they've been able to run the ball, throw the ball into short and medium passes, throw the ball to Derrick Henry in the first half, and they've been able to overwhelm defenses with that in the first half. But at halftime, they've adjusted to it. They've gummed up. The defenses now have come up to gum up the running game, to gum up the short passing game, and force Tennessee to go to plan B. And it is normal for defensive adjustments to see what's working for the opposing offense in the first half, and then try to go to something, make them go to something else in the second half. And the problem with the Titans right now is that plan B for them doesn't really exist. Plan B would be to throw the ball deeper, to get that ball over the top, complete the kind of passes that A.J. Brown used to make. I wonder why the Titans can't get a receiver like A.J. Brown, man. He's been fantastic. But anyway, that's what plan B needs to be for this team. And until they can do that from a standpoint of protection and from a standpoint of the receivers connecting with the quarterback down the field in the second half, then I think you're going to see a whole lot of a similar situation. And really, they'll need to start doing that in the first half, because teams are going to start to come out and say, okay, we know what they do in the first half. We're going to take that away right from the beginning, and we're going to force them over the top in the second half.
Trevor, I counted 4 when I looked at the second half tape yesterday. 4 mistakes, 4 errors from Nicholas Petit-Ferrer. A false start, which I think we can say is definitely his fault. A false start, a running play in which he needed to get on the outside shoulder of the middle linebacker, but he couldn't get there fast enough, so the middle linebacker was able to run around him and make a tackle of Derrick Henry. A pass play where he was originally, Kwity Paye was lined up on him. Kwity Paye rushed to the inside. He double-team blocks Kwity Paye with Nate Davis as DeForest Buckner loops around. As he's engaged in the double-team with Kwity Paye, he leaves the double-team to go try to stop Buckner, and they both get to Tannehill for a sack. Probably would have been a touchdown if Tannehill had an extra second. And then on a running play with Derrick Henry, he gets absolutely worked by Dayo Odangbo, where it literally looks like a turnstile, and Odangbo just goes inside of him and tackles Derrick Henry in the backfield. How much of this is young guy that's learning, and how much of this is be concerned about those 4 mistakes in a second half, because most teams they play won't be as bad as the Colts?
Right. It's a young guy that's learning, because the first half he did quite well. In the first half, he when he had to pass protect by himself with no help, he did a pretty good job of it. He did a pretty good job in the running game. I did not see Nicholas Petit-Frere at right tackle in the first half to be a liability for the team. But you're right. It doesn't take much for things to break down when you've got one guy makes a couple of mistakes, but then he's great, but somebody else makes a mistake, and then he's great, but then somebody else makes a mistake. And pretty soon you've got a cascading series of mistakes that causes you to be behind the chains. And this offensive line, at best, is a work in progress. I can't imagine this offensive line will be characterized as good by the end of the season. I can see it being characterized as not a liability for 4 quarters. And that's what they need to be, is for 4 full quarters, don't be a liability in any of those quarters. Hold your own, even if you can't win based on the offensive line. Don't lose because of the offensive line. That gives the other guys a chance then to step up. And so what you saw from Petit-Frere in the first half was a much more consistent performance. But I'll just give you an idea of the detail of what you're talking about with that stunt that didn't get picked up. When you're the right tackle, you're next to the right guard, and your guy comes inside as the drive man on a stunt, you need to be able to stop that guy from getting penetration so that the guard, when he recognizes what's happening, can step over in front of him. If you don't do that, then when you come off on the loop man, then the guard can't get in front of the drive man. And so when you leave, the guard can't win. And if you stay there a little bit too long because you know you're in trouble, you can't win on the loop man. So that comes down to stopping that drive man cold so that both guys can get in front of the switch. And so these are things that Petit-Frere is capable of doing. It's a matter of recognizing it quickly enough so that he doesn't get behind the curve so that drive man actually gets penetration.
Trevor Maddich is our guest. Go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Well, Trevor Maddich is our guest, presented by Twin Peaks and Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Ryan Tannehill was great in the first half. He threw for 34 yards in the second half. Trevor, when I flip on the tape, there are guys open. And Vrabel even talked about it yesterday with maybe being a little bit more subtle than saying there were guys open. But there were clean pockets with open guys, and Tannehill just didn't see them. Whether they were down the field, a third down short at the sticks, a ball to Kyle Phillips in which he threw off of his back foot and was short on the ball to Phillips. I mean, Tannehill, I think, has played pretty well this season, and he didn't turn the ball over, so that's good. But I don't know if this team can win if they're getting guys open on third down in the second half, and Ryan Tannehill is just not delivering the ball.
Yeah, this is where they have a problem if Tannehill keeps doing that, because the systemic problems with this offense can improve a little bit. They can become not as bad, but they're not going to become strengths necessarily. Sure. That's where Tannehill has to make up the difference. When he does have time, he has to see those guys. And every time he misses them, he misses an opportunity. And this team is not good enough to overcome very many missed opportunities. The Bills can miss opportunities all the time, and you still have, in any given moment, an 80-yard touchdown pass from Josh Allen to Diggs just waiting to happen. Well, Tennessee doesn't have that waiting to happen. So they can't afford to make these little mistakes that gets them behind the chains. And it's the quarterback that needs to make up for the deficiencies everywhere else by making sure that every opportunity that is there is taken advantage of. And right now, Tannehill is not doing that in the second half. And I don't know if it's because he doesn't believe he'll get enough protection, so he wants to get the ball out faster than he really needs to before he finds that opportunity. I don't know, I'm not sure what it is, but I do know that the way that they've won the last 2 weeks is not sustainable without Tannehill being more efficient in taking what's there. I'm not talking about forcing a big play like you're Patrick Mahomes and doing stuff that's all Houdini and all pro and all kinds of crazy Mahomes stuff. No, just take what's there. And that's really how to judge Tannehill going forward.
Trevor, your old team, Washington, the Titans play them this week. I know what I know about Washington, but I'll be honest, I haven't watched a single snap this year. It would not be fair for me to talk about Washington if I haven't watched them play. I'd watched all 3 of Indianapolis's games, which is why I didn't take the Colts very seriously as an organization. I haven't watched Washington's games. I know Ron Rivera was cursing at the podium yesterday about trying to get things right. What is the skinny on Washington?
Washington would this is a bit of a stretch, but they'd struggle to win the SEC this year. That's not exactly true. That's never true. But when you watch them, it seems that way. because their flaws are so deep that they can't begin to bring to bear their strengths. The strength of this team is the wide receiver group, with Curtis Samuel, Terry McLaurin, tight end Logan Thomas, the pass catchers, J.D. McKissick running back out of the backfield catching passes. It is a fantastic, diverse, capable group of pass catchers. There's two problems. One is that the offensive line is absolutely a shambles. It was average at best, below average at both guards, until they started to get a bunch of injuries. Then all of a sudden you get the right guards out. You've got your third string center started last week against Dallas. So now you've got injuries added to a lack of capability, and the offensive line has no real chance to protect Carson Wentz. And that's the other problem. I mean, the Titans fans saw Carson Wentz twice last year against Tennessee, and he is just awful. He's doing the same things Tannehill's doing right now, except worse. Instead of elevating the team when he can, he just freaks out and loses the ball left and right. Throw it to the other side, sack fumbles, just freaking out when he has plenty of time, overthrowing wide open receivers running down the field for a touchdown. And so the lack of protection and the lack of a running game because of the offensive line of the Commanders has gotten fully inside of Carson Wentz's head. And nothing on that offense is performing well because they cannot bring to bear their greatest strength, which is the pass catchers. On the other side, the linebackers are pedestrian. They'll often bust assignments. They're not that dynamic athletically right now. At linebacker, the corners are, when they're not giving up big plays, they're committing pass interference. The interior defensive line is very good. And other than that, I'd be really surprised if Tennessee can't move the ball on this group. So, Tennessee should feel very confident in the matchup because Washington is just a wreck.
Trevor Matich is with us. UT plays LSU this week, and Georgia and Alabama both didn't look flawless on Saturday. We'll get his thoughts on that next. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback. 185! That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim. ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
How that team is built, I think there's a lot to like about it.
Every Tuesday at noon, Tim with Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Presented by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue and BetUS.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Another beautiful evening setting up for us as we look for mainly clear skies. Temperatures will drop back into the mid-40s. On our way to about 80 for the afternoon. Wednesday, mainly sunny skies expected. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Calling a criminal defense lawyer or a divorce lawyer, you may think it's the worst day of your life. It doesn't have to be. If you have quality, competent representation who can guide you through a complex system, we can do that for you. Despite if you've been arrested for a DUI or a robbery charge, whether or not you're going through a divorce or a post-divorce, or demanding your fundamental constitutional right to parent your children. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
In a world where human interaction seems to be reduced to chats and clicks and emails, where transactions are measured only by speed, where corporate policies overrule common sense, sometimes you just want to go old school. Welcome to Genesis Diamonds, a refreshing experience where personal relationships and authentic interaction are the norm, not the exception. At Genesis, you're here celebrating something awesome in your life, and we want to know all about it. We want to hear your story, listen to your requests, and be a meaningful part of whatever occasion this is. A proposal, an anniversary, a birthday, graduation, push gift, sweet 16. If it's important to you, it's important to us. So we don't care how long it takes. We're not paid on commission, and we're not beholden to some corporate rule book. We just want to help you get what you want to make it into a special memory. So take a break from modern shopping and go old school with us at Genesis. Let's start a real relationship that you can count on for life. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Yeah, start this week off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, folks. That's FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Joe Richard here to let you know it doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you already have an account. You're going to get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay doesn't hit. NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday, of course. And on this one, man, both these teams need to win. Colts, Broncos. I think Jonathan Taylor bounces back. I'd go over on his yards. I think I would also go Matt Ryan anytime interception. And, I think I got to go Broncos on the money line. Do whatever you want, build your own, or choose from one of the popular same-game parlays built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL on Thursday night with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Just sign up with promo code Joe102 if you don't have an account. If you do, you're all set. Sign in and see what you got. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, present in Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued is now withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Max free bet $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
In 1972, a Nashville family business story began when Bill and Beverly Finley founded Volunteer Hose and Gasket. 3 generations have grown the business into the local industry leader supplying just about anything to anybody, from the largest of contractors to your neighbor that mows his own yard. Over 1 million items in stock: belts, belting accessories, gaskets, gauges, hose fittings, hydraulics, industrial hoses, lubricants, sealing products, tubing, fire protection, and more. All at volunteerhose.net. If Volunteer Hose and Gasket doesn't have it, then you probably don't need it. Call them at 615-242-0461.
Robbie Stanley.
They get a lead in that game and just totally close the door.
Joe Rexrode.
If he plays next year, it's disastrous.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
So on Saturday, I watched Kentucky the worst 15 seconds maybe that a team could go through. I didn't even feel good about it being a Louisville fan as we were simultaneously losing to Boston College. But I didn't even feel good. I felt bad for Kentucky. And then I watched Arkansas play Alabama. Then I watched baseball, watched the Braves. And as soon as the Braves were over, I flipped to Georgia, Missouri. That was a close game. My dad texted me. He goes, "What's up with Georgia?" And I just texted back, "Rat poison." I just assumed that was what was going on there. Trevor Maddich joins us on the program. Trevor, if there's anything that I took away from it, Tennessee was off. They play LSU this weekend. They are favored, according to the FanDuel Sportsbook app, on the road at LSU. But Kentucky lost. And Ole Miss doesn't seem like a perfect team. Alabama certainly doesn't seem like a perfect team. And Georgia, apparently, against Missouri doesn't seem like a perfect team. Tennessee's going to score a lot of points, Trevor. This could be a very, very tricky kind of second half of the SEC season to figure out, especially for Tennessee.
It gives Tennessee fans a whole lot of hope, doesn't it? That maybe Georgia is not this insurmountable mountain, and they're playing for number 2. Well, the thing is, it can be true. And a lot of it has to do with Jalen Carter, the defensive lineman for Georgia who left the Missouri game with an injury. Now, it seems like he won't be out for the entire season, but if he's limited, then it changes Georgia because they lost 3 defensive linemen in the first round of the NFL draft, including the number 1 pick in the draft last year. And in the early part of the season, the Georgia D-line was still quite good because Carter might have been the most talented of all of those guys last year. And he disrupts in a way that enables everybody else to disrupt as well. And without Carter in the game, the D-line of Georgia didn't disrupt as much, and that was a problem. The way that Missouri gave the Georgia offense grief was just to attack. So many people are afraid of the Georgia offense. So they play it a little soft. They keep everything in front of them. They try to make Georgia run a lot of plays to get in the scoring position, hoping that they'll have a mistake and then they can get them off the field on 3rd and long. Well, what Missouri said was, "No, we're going to attack everything." And so they brought the house. Their defensive line just got on the edge into the gaps of the offensive line and fired through and created havoc, both in the running game and in the passing game. And then the secondary didn't play soft. The secondary played tight to the receivers, daring Stetson Bennett to be able to make the perfect throw and that the receiver needs to make a contested catch. And when they did make those catches, the Missouri secondary made tackles right away so that there weren't a lot of yards after the catch. This is the way it was for most of the game. And Missouri had the people to be able to hold up that way. And that's what other teams will look at and say, yeah, that's what we need to do too. The question is, can you? And when you look at Tennessee, they've got some guys that can rush the passer. They've got some guys that can sell out and attack and maybe get into the backfield a little bit. The problem is in the secondary. Their top corner is now out, and that guy really wasn't a shutdown corner anyway. He was more of a number 2 corner, and so the secondary might not be able to match up as well as Missouri did, and so that could be a problem. Even so, that's the blueprint for the defense. Don't sit back and keep everything in front of you. Attack, 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 because then if Jalen Carter is limited, then Tennessee has a chance to score a lot more points than Missouri has the capability of scoring. And a lot of good things could happen. So the thing to watch is what's happening with that great defensive lineman, because if he's not there, then more things open up for Tennessee's offense, and they're going to have to win it on offense.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute. Disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to thegamenashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3. The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
There's no place like the #1 sports bar to finish out baseball season. Which team are you batting for? Twin Peaks in Cool Springs. Made from scratch food, signature 29-degree draft beers, and all the scenic views.
All right, sorry about that. Trevor Matich is with us, ESPN college football analyst, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics and by Twin Peaks. So, Trevor, here's the question. Tennessee is favored at LSU. Should they be favored this Saturday?
Yes, they should, because their offense is still much, much better than LSU's. Jaden Daniels, the LSU quarterback, started the season, he couldn't engage the wide receivers at all. Since then, he's gotten better, but the guy he hasn't engaged is the best player, one of the best players in the SEC, and that's LSU receiver Kayshon Boutte. Boutte ended up pouting in famous fashion in the opener against Florida State because he wasn't getting the ball. He wasn't getting targeted, and he was pouting, and it looked bad. And the coach talked to him on the sideline about it with national TV cameras on it. Now, it's just not good. Well, so what happened since then? Boutte has 11 catches on the season. He ranks 48th in the SEC. This is one of the very best receivers in the nation, and Daniels either won't or can't get him the ball. And so that this is, unless he's got 2 broken thumbs that we don't know about and he's just out there as a decoy, that limits what the LSU passing game can do, because Daniels is very much a work in progress as a passer. And so you go into this game as Daniels doesn't have the advantage as a runner because Hooker can run, but Hooker has a gigantic advantage as a passer. And so I think that Tennessee should be favored in this.
Trevor, what do we make? Paul Chryst gets fired at Wisconsin. I feel like all these coaches are getting fired now. It almost feels like an arms race to go out there and fire your coach first, to then look at all the other coaches. I don't even know who the good coaching candidates are, but it does feel like college football is just firing these coaches left and right.
Yeah, they are. And then what's even worse is over at Auburn, A.J. McCarron reported on our show, College Game Day on ESPN Radio, something that he had talked about earlier in the week, that sources of his at Auburn say that Harsin has already been told that he will be fired at the end of the year, and so he could start to get ready for that, but they didn't want to make it public because they didn't want to have the drama of firing him right now.
I mean, we all know.
We all know, but now how do you recruit to that? I mean, how does Harsin and his staff go to recruits and say, hey, come to Auburn, we're fired. We're going to be fired. We have no idea who the coach is. But, hey, and this is recruiting in October doing this, right? Recruiting now.
Sure.
So Auburn might be one of the ones to fall, and, of course, they would have the most drama of all in the way they've done it if it turns out that way. But, Colorado's coach got fired. Arizona State's coach got fired. Just coaches are dropping left and right. And I agree with you that I think what teams are doing is, Nebraska, what teams are saying is, look, if it's not working, it's not working, and let's start the process of moving on right now. And that way they can give their interim head coach a tryout and at the same time start looking for the coaches and get into the race early, get into negotiations early with coaches that they may want to get, and not have them signed by somebody else while they haven't still fired their current coach. So, the money is so big now that coaches are being paid that the leashes are even shorter, and things are getting kind of crazy.
Trevor Maddich, as always, presented by Twin Peaks and Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters. Great stuff. Appreciate you, Trev. Talk next week.
Thanks, Jared.
Yep, Trevor Maddich joining us on the program. So the Titans are 2-2. And I am not going to say what I think a lot of you fear or think about the Titans. We'll get to that next. Caroline, tell us about the Caesar Sportsbook app.
It is time for the Caesar Sportsbook Report. Now, remember, if you haven't started yet with Caesars, it's not too late. Plus, your first bet is on Caesars up to $1,250. Just download the app and use the promo code RadioFull and then wager. Have fun. Bet as much as your little heart desires. And if you win, then congratulations. If not, you'll get that stake back as a free bet. Now, if you're looking for something to place that first bet on, I'm looking at an odds boost on Caesar Sportsbook. Mookie Betts and Joey Gallo each hit a home run tonight at plus 2,700 odds. Pretty good return there. Open to new users in Tennessee who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Must use within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesar Sportsbook. You bet, you get.
You love the game.
Predators win it in overtime. Touchdown, Tennessee.
We live the game.
My quarterback needs me to step up.
He can make a defense pay.
We are.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome game 7.
What a stop made by UC Sarah.
The game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
There's no place like the #1 sports bar to finish out baseball season. Which team are you batting for? Twin Peaks in Cool Springs. Made from scratch food, signature 29-degree draft beers, and all the scenic views.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
Are you getting hit hard with higher costs and higher interest rates? Is your credit card rate going up every month? Hey, Willie Donick, how'd you like to wipe out those credit cards before the holidays? Call Loan Pronto. Your home equity can rescue you right now. Your home's value is still way up, and there's a ton of cash that you can get. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost cash-out home refis. Get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off credit cards and consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut around $800 from their monthly budget. And even if your home mortgage rate goes up a little bit, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. When rates come back down, Loan Pronto will refinance you again for free. Call Loan Pronto. Do it now. You can even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne,
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman and Company, Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball. We got pass rushers. Awesome game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. So I feel like people are down on the Titans. I just feel like that's, it felt that way at my gym today. I looked at the power rankings at The Athletic, and I read what Joe wrote about them, and I feel like Joe is down on the Titans. I don't want to get Derek all mad at me like it did last time when I said I heard something on the show, and I went against it, but we talked to Derek yesterday, and Derek kept saying the same thing today that he kept saying yesterday, which is that this roster is not good enough. Like, he keeps saying it over and over again. So he clearly believes it.
I heard him say it again today, too.
That this roster is not good enough.
The roster's the problem.
And, I do feel like people are down on the 2-2 Titans. Now, the one thing that I have said about this program is that we will be fair. That's all I can promise you. Anything else, you might be asking for too much. You want us to be pro-team, I can't go there. Now, if the team does good things, we'll say that they did good things. If the team does bad things, we'll say they do bad things. We pick against the Predators and the Titans all the time here. All I can be is fair. The Titans are 2-2. The Titans are a field goal away from being 3-1, and if they were 3-1, I feel like the mood around the team would be a lot different than it is now at 2-2. I can also make the argument that the Titans were about an eyelash away from being 1-3 or 0-4. And I understand that. And the first halves against the Giants, against the Raiders, against the Colts, honestly, they keep getting better and better.
And you could make the argument that they are an eyelash away from being 3-1, as much as they're an eyelash away from being 1-3.
A 47-yard field goal away from
right.
But I keep going back to, the first half against the Giants was good. It was only 13-0. The first half against the Raiders, they scored 24 points. Last week against the Colts, outside of Tannehill's stupid before the end of the half malfunction, they may have been even better than they were in the Raider game. On the road at Indianapolis, running the ball. And so it does feel like they're getting better in the first halves of these games. And when I think of a bad team, I think of the Carolina Panthers. I think of when I asked Trevor, who is, an HTTR guy when it comes to the Washington franchise. And I asked Trevor about them, and he joked and said that they couldn't win the SEC. That's what I think of. I saw the Athletic Power Rankings, as I had brought up. The Titans are 19th. The Lions are one pick behind the Titans.
That's your
team. I don't think the Titans are that bad, people. I really don't. And the difference is that I know the Titans can do it. I know the Titans can be a better team in the second half. You know why I know that?
Because they're a good team in the first half?
If you can do it in the first half, you can do it in the second half.
But why haven't they done that yet?
I can only tell you the Colts game because that's the only one where I really looked at it and I said, why did this game not go well offensively in the second half? I watched every play on the coach's tape, passing and running offensively, and I told you, Petit Ferrer, he makes, some procedural mistakes. He doesn't read the blitz right. He gets burned on one, and he's not fast enough out on another. Tannehill has guys open, doesn't throw him the ball a couple of times. Tannehill throws the ball short off his back foot for Kyle Phillips. As much as it is obnoxious to hear the coach say, it's one play here or there, one guy here or there, or it really is. Derrick Henry ends the game on second down, the play before the pass to Okonkwo against the Colts, if he doesn't trip over Nate Davis's foot. But it's one guy here, one guy there, one guy misses this. At least it was against Indianapolis. I can't tell you it was that way against the Raider game because I didn't watch all that tape. I can't tell you it was that way against the Giants because even though I watched the tape, I didn't watch specifically the offensive plays in the second half and then jot down every single one of them. But I am telling you guys, the Titans, in my opinion, are not a bad team. And not only are they not a bad team, but to their point that they bring up that I felt was evident watching the tape, they are a team that is, if this guy makes a play better on this one play next week, everything will continue to get better. I mean, let's just use Derrick Henry, for example. Does the running game look the same it looked in week one? Absolutely not. It's getting better. The blocking is getting better, including certain plays yesterday where the Titans ran the ball. And I wrote, Indianapolis had 8 guys in the box. The Titans ran the jumbo package. 44 Carter, 87 Swaim, 85 Okonkwo were all in the game. They bring out the jumbo package. They know they're running the ball. My notes on the play. Good block Davis. Good block Jones. Great block Petit Ferrer. Good block Okonkwo. And he just steps on his foot. I don't remember. I watched every running play against the Giants, and there wasn't a single running play that was good block everybody. There were multiple plays that I wrote down where I said, here you go, jumbo package, play 13 in the second half. Jumbo package with 2 wide receivers, which means it's the I formation. Indianapolis has 8 in the box. Titans run left with Derrick Henry. Good block Swaim, good block Carter, good block Jones, good block Brewer, good combo block Dennis Daly. Nice vision by Henry. Great play offensive line /87/44. We weren't getting any of those week 1. So the fact that the Titans, even in the second half that wasn't very good, they were still getting some runs in the second half, tells me that the line as a whole is getting better. So that I believe that this team has the potential to get better this season throughout the course of the year. And not only that, do we think they're going to beat Washington this weekend?
Yes.
Okay. So now they're 3-2, and they're at least tied for the division at that point, maybe leading the division. I don't know who Jacksonville's playing. I watched the first half of their game against the Eagles. It rains so much, it's hard to get a feel for what Jacksonville is or isn't.
They turn the ball over a lot, but that's also kind of to be expected in that kind of weather. So,
but some of it was, remember last year when they
play the Texans.
They host Houston. Yep.
Okay, so maybe they won't be, but it was funny because one of those Trevor Lawrence fumbles. Remember last year when they talked about how I think they played the Titans, and it was how could they not call a QB sneak for Trevor Lawrence? And Urban Meyer was he's never done that before. And everybody's it's sneaking the ball.
So
what are you talking about? And Trevor Lawrence was I can do it. I've done it. I can do it. And there was that dichotomy of Urban saying Trevor couldn't do it and Trevor saying he could do it.
And that was also a subtle but also not so subtle way for Trevor Lawrence to be screw you, Urban Meyer.
Why do you think I'm bringing this up?
I don't know.
He fumbled the QB sneak last week against the Eagles.
Literally
fumbled it. It had nothing to do with the rain. He had his hands under the guy's butt, and he fumbled the QB center exchange on the QB sneak, and I saw that, and I was Trevor, maybe you threw Urban under the bus there.
Well, I'm not going to give Urban Meyer any credit for anything.
I'm just saying he was right about that. But again, the Titans, in my opinion, there's a lot of games on this schedule that are going to be close, and I do think that I guess I was a little disconcerted, or found it disconcerting, that the Titans, had spent so much time last week answering questions about what goes on in the second half, that the Titans couldn't have a huddle inside the locker room and get it figured out, even during the week, spend time saying, hey, let's hold back some plays for the second half, or hey, let's think about the second half here. Maybe let's try to coach it a little different. Something. And they couldn't do that. I certainly was bothered by. But when I flipped on the tape, I told you all my honest opinion is Tannehill screwed up the play before the end of the half, and it stuck with him the entire second half, and that's why he made bad plays throughout the course of the second half last week. Now, that is concerning, that one mistake like that, if that's what happened, weighed Tannehill down. And again, that's an assumption from me. Long enough to know that he'll get that figured out. And so while I keep hearing things about how the roster's not very good, or I keep hearing, oh, Jared, we have got to go get Odell Beckham Jr., or we have to add a receiver, or we have to, I'm telling you, on every play in the second half, I probably spent 2.5 to 3 hours watching this yesterday. On every play in the second half, they had 17 offensive plays. I guess they had 19 offensive snaps, 19 plays, 11 possible errors. I guess 12 if we want to factor the 2 on the one play from Tannehill. 12 possible errors. A wide receiver ain't one of them. And that includes Treylon Burks not willing to come out of the game when he got hurt. and then hopping on 1 foot 15 yards down the field and taking a defender with it.
Well, are people having those discussions not because it's our wide receivers aren't good enough, or is it Treylon Burks is hurt, so we're worried about the depth of this wide receiver core that was already thin going into it, and now it's down one?
Were we having wide receiver discussions before Treylon Burks got hurt?
No.
Oh, I think we were.
Were we?
Oh, yeah. These receivers are trash. They should have never traded A.J. Brown. These receivers are awful. They are.
It wasn't to the point of let's go get Odell Beckham Jr., which has this fan base not had enough with the old and injured and not good anymore receivers?
Well, Odell Beckham might not be bad, but I think the thing with Odell Beckham is that he visited the Giants. So now what everybody was considering was a conclusion that he would go back to the Rams. Now it's if he's going to visit the Giants, like maybe he'll consider somewhere else. But I hear your point. I mean, I'm just telling you all, like today, they were talking about the offensive coordinator on the midday show, and I texted Chase. And I said, well, I mean, we can talk about offensive coordinator all we want, but if the quarterback doesn't throw to receivers that are open, as Tannehill did not do on 3 occasions in the second half on Sunday, and the right tackle doesn't see the loop from DeForest Buckner coming that would have set up a Hilliard touchdown, then what good's a new offensive coordinator going to do? Or what good is a new receiver going to do? And so I hate to say it, but like, I know people don't want to hear this. The players they have on the team might actually get better. And so the Titans themselves might get better. And I actually think that's going to happen. So as I've said many times, the only goal I got is to be fair. Be fair. That's it. And yet, I mean, I think the Titans have a season still in front of them. And I'm not super doom and gloom on this team. I am actually kind of drinking the coach Kool-Aid after watching the tape because so many of the things that they did were literally one guy makes a mistake here or one guy makes a mistake there. And the truth is for some reason, I feel like they'll get that ironed out. And if they don't get that ironed out, then it's on them, the coaches. But I truly think what we saw in the first half is the potential of what this team can be. And while potential is French for not good enough, I do think that Vrabel is a good enough coach, or at least has a good enough track record, to where I think there should be a lot more optimism flowing through the veins of Titan fans than I hear right now. And I think that is probably a surprising take coming from me.
It is, I'm sure.
But I am telling you that I do feel that way about this team. Let's take your phones. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. Vrabel does say he doesn't throw Tannehill under the bus by any means, but he does tell the truth about Tannehill, which I found to be fascinating. We'll get to that coming up next. And I think most people probably missed it, but I do think it's crazy how Vrabel actually did keep it real on Tannehill yesterday. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. Football season is underway, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet does not win if you sign up with the promo code JGM. FanDuel has all of your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props, and you can combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. Get paid your winnings and get paid them fast. That's right. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up with the promo code JGM to get your no-sweat bet. That's promo code JGM, and make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issue is non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Every Wednesday at noon.
No matter the down and distance and no matter the score, they're going to give him the football.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Chase, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
I hope that they're not throwing flags simply because the league wants to see more of them.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
They are not as good at wide receiver and the playmaking department.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon. Presented by Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
Hey football fans, Patrick Mahomes here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
When I came to Genesis, I was completely shocked and surprised.
That's Tara Michelle, but like so many of her customers, she's made the switch to Genesis.
Now working at Genesis, I'm able to offer my customers more inventory, more selection, better pricing, better warranties and guarantees.
And Tara loves that now she's got access to the top designers and all the latest ring styles. Over 4,000 choices.
The picture that she's captured on Instagram, they show me that picture. I don't have just one option for them. I have plenty. And we're going to hit it out of the park every single time. I'm not only getting the customers exactly what they want style-wise, but the price is going to be unbeatable. Without a doubt, hands down.
And unlike the other stores, Tara's not working on commission at Genesis, so less stress for everyone.
I'm not putting pressure on the customer to purchase because no one's putting pressure on me to sell. I have the freedom to make it a personal experience for them.
Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
When you download the Home Depot app, taking on big or small projects starts with a tap. It's your pocket-sized toolbox for getting more done. Image search helps you find what you need with a snap. Store mode pinpoints exactly where to go to get what you want while you're at our store. Or just tap to arrange for easy curbside pickup, all from the palm of your hand. It's the app that's made for doing. The Home Depot app. How doers get more done.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
You know, we were able to win the rushing battle. You know, we had a better passer rating and we won the turnover margin. So that's the recipe for winning in this league, especially on the road. And you know, we'll continue to find and make opportunities. You know, I think that there were some things that we could have probably gotten, you know, and been able to get the ball there. And we'll talk to Ryan about some of those things. But you know, it was pretty, you know, kept us out of harm's way. Delivered some really good throws. You know, was accurate. And made good decisions. We just have to, you know, I think there was a few down the field we probably could have had.
There you go. That was Vrabel yesterday, and I was stunned he said it because that's totally the truth, is that there were throws that were available, and Tannehill didn't take them. And so most of the mistakes in the second half for the Titans on offense came from Petit Ferrer and from Tannehill.
And which is to be expected from Petit Frere.
Well, here's the thing, because I was listening to the midday show today, and Derek was talking about Petit Ferrer.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reality is Petit Ferrer messed up the most of anybody in the second half, according to my breakdown of the tape. On offense, Petit Ferrer had 4 mistakes. And I think a lot of people believe, hey, he's doing great. He'll be fine. He's young. He's going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. And that's kind of what Derek said, that he feels like Petit Ferrer is going to be fine and that on you go. Well, that's great, except that it doesn't help you this week against Washington if he's making mistakes in the second half, that he won't make mistakes next year. You know what I mean?
Yes. But
so if you want to complain about the team right now and say, well, the reason why Tannehill didn't throw a touchdown pass to Dontrell Hilliard in the fourth quarter was because Petit Ferrer didn't read the rush correctly, and he double-teamed Kwity Paye as opposed to seeing the looping to Forrest Buckner. And when he went back to go to Buckner, Kwity Paye sacked Tannehill, and it kept the Titans from having a touchdown. People are still going to be like, well, we want our team to play better, and we want to win, and we want to. So it can't necessarily be both ways.
Well, it's really easy to say he's a rookie, and he's learning on the job, and we're willing to accept that. And then when it actually comes time to accept that, when it actually comes time to acknowledge the fact that your right tackle is incredibly important and can make mistakes that have major implications on the game, that's not as fun or easy to accept.
Well, in fairness, all 11 players the same way. They are right about, if one guy makes a big mistake.
I know, but I'm talking about the specific guy that people are saying.
Sure.
It's okay if he makes mistakes because he's a rookie and we understand that he's learning.
Yeah, it doesn't matter right now. This is like when a guy gets drafted. And it's like, that's great value to pick him in the 3rd round because I had him as the 82nd best, the 63rd best player in the draft. And they got him all the way in the 4th round. And so nobody cares where these guys ultimately get drafted long term.
No.
Nobody cares that Dan Marino was the 27th pick in the 1st round and that John Elway was the 1st pick of that draft. Nobody cares. I mean, so that's kind of how I feel about this is like, he's a rookie. So but he's going to be there. He's going to get better. He might. But right now, his mistakes still cost you touchdowns. Now with Tannehill, I don't know what to say, because for Vrabel to say Ryan missed on some and we'll get with Ryan and we'll get from there. And obviously, Vrabel is right to point out the fact that he didn't turn over the ball, which is good. But, man, Tannehill throws a bad ball to Kyle Phillips off of his back foot. He should know better than that. Tannehill misses Dontrell Hilliard and Nick Westbrook-Akine with a clean pocket on a 3rd and 5, standing right there in the middle of the field, 5 yards at the marker. Just dump it off, 1st down, continue the drive. And Tannehill just doesn't throw it to either guy.
And I can understand the apprehension of the guy 25 yards downfield of not throwing it downfield there.
Sure.
But when he's 5 yards in front of you and you need to pick up a 1st down, and that's an easy 1st down there, I have a problem with
You've
that.
seen the screenshot of the play, too.
Yes. And also, to your point, it was a perfectly clean pocket.
It was a clean pocket, and he's standing there with the ball.
All
cocked and
the
ready to
time in the
throw.
world, yeah.
Or when he's got Burks 25 yards down the field, and he's got Woods 20 yards down the field, and he dumps it off to Derrick Henry. Now, this is where I don't know, did he dump it off to Derrick Henry because the play was designed, hey, Woods and Burks are going to run as far down the field as they can, and they're going to take all the defensive backs with them, and then it'll be Derrick singled up with a linebacker, dump it off to Derrick. Derrick makes a move on a linebacker, and now it's Derrick Henry running in space, and we know what it looks like when the big man gets going. Was it that? Or was it Tannehill didn't want to throw the ball 20 yards down the field? Or Tannehill didn't want to throw the ball 25 yards down the field to Burks? I don't know the answer to that. And he missed Westbrook-Akine on another one. So those mistakes, why did they happen? That's the big question. And the Titan coaching staff is trying to figure that out too. Why did Tannehill not throw that ball to Hilliard or throw that ball to Westbrook-Akine? That's what they're trying to figure out. It should be noted in my breakdown of the second half tape, I thought Jeff Swaim played okay. As much as we complain about Jeff Swaim, including one play where Westbrook-Akine was standing wide open 20 yards down the field and Tannehill didn't throw him the ball. Swaim was running down the sidelines. I could give credit to Todd Downing for this, but I'm not going to because I thought this was so incredibly stupid by Stephon Gilmore. They're running with Swaim. I think it was a linebacker maybe. Was running with Swaim down the sideline, and Gilmore breaks off of Westbrook-Akine and goes and runs with Swaim down the sideline. Mm-hmm. And Westbrook-Akine is just standing there 20 yards away from the play, wide open in the middle of the field. Tannehill doesn't throw him the ball. And I'm thinking to myself, one, how stupid could Stephon Gilmore be to go chase after Jeff Swaim down the Titans are not throwing a ball 30 yards down the field to Jeff Swaim. They're
not even throwing the ball 25 yards downfield to their best receiver.
I'm going to tell you guys something. Stephon Gilmore is ready for the Indianapolis Colts. And they called a hold on him. Let me see if I have this in my notes. Where they called a hold on him. I want to say it was maybe the start of the... Yeah, here you go. Okay. So the first play of the 4th drive of the second half, Tannehill rolls out, and he throws it away because nobody's open, and they call a hold on Gilmore. And Mark Schlereth on TV was like, I think that's a pretty weak hold. But it was funny to me because on the second to last play of the drive before that, I write, these are my notes on this particular play. This is the second play of the 3rd drive. Titans in shotgun. This is when he threw it to Burks and Burks got hurt. Titans in shotgun. Indy's showing single high safety. Tannehill has a clean pocket. Tannehill looks to the right. 1, Gilmore holds Nick Westbrook-Akine. 2, Henry's open as a safety valve. And the line of scrimmage is the 17, and Gilmore's holding at the 29. You know you can be physical for 5 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the 29 and the 17 ain't 5. So he's clearly 15 yards down there, or 12 yards down there, holding the receiver. Tannehill takes the safe throw to the short yard of the field to Burks. Fine. Well, my guess is the Titan coaches were all over the referee about how are you guys not going to throw that flag on Gilmore holding the receiver, and then at the start of the next drive, they probably told Gilmore, hey, don't
cut it out.
Hold. And then Gilmore did, and they threw the flag. Gilmore cannot run. He should be playing safety. What do we have in the text line? 615-737-1025. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHoney.com.
Jack checks in and says the Bills had one of the worst first halves I've ever seen this week, but nobody is talking about it because they won. Media is overreacting. Dubs are what matters.
Yeah, I mean, thanks, Coach. I don't know that the Buffalo Bills have had this problem week in and week out, and that's the difference.
And also, yes, at the end of the day, a win is all that matters, but when you're talking about a projection for the rest of the season or how confident you can feel about the team, just barely squeaking out a win isn't going to be good enough.
And let's be real. The Colts stink.
Yeah.
They stink.
The Colts are not a good football
team. They
team.
stink.
Especially, they're not a good football team, but also compared to the amount of hype that they got preseason and that Matt Ryan was supposed to be the savior for this football team, that just adds fuel to the fire.
Owner's talking about, the owner's sitting there talking about
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. What else we got?
Another texter texts in and says the NFL is full of mediocre teams, so any team except for the few teams that are lousy can win it or can go a long way.
I mean, I think there's probably a lot of truth to that at this point in the year. I think the teams that we thought, who's going to be able to compete with Green Bay? The Patriots' third-string quarterback out of Western Kentucky.
Bailey Zappi.
So I think there's probably a lot of truth to that. Speaking of the Colts, I got incredible enjoyment from listening to Dan Dockich on Indianapolis radio yesterday. Dan is totally cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. There's no way around it. But boy, did he hammer the Colts yesterday. And I realized the source of that enjoyment, which we'll get to. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. Hiller takes fantastic care of my home, and I promise you that they can do the exact same for you. That's right. This fall means cooler weather is coming. I think we already know the cooler weather has already started to come. And make sure your family is warm in your home and with this special deal from Hiller. This month, take advantage of Hiller's Happy HVAC Comfort Bundle, which includes HVAC replacement, germicidal UV light, extended 10-year warranty, and you'll get a free Solo smokeless stove. Or get a free Solo stove with a new whole home generator or whole home water filtration and descaler. Plus, Hiller's offering 0 interest for up to 12 months on these purchases. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy You'll Be or Service is Free guarantee. And I know this because, quite frankly, I use Hiller and I love them. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Vols, the Preds, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face truck today.
Hey, this is Phil Forsberg. And this is Smashville.
Forsberg a shot, broken up in front, give it back to Forsberg, and here come the hat.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with 3-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
Golfers, now in Edwin Watts Golf Shops, it's time to hit faster, longer, and straighter with Titleist. The new TSR drivers are designed to maximize distance and elevate your performance. Titleist TSR driver, pushing for perfection every day. Come into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the new Titleist TSR drivers and get custom fit for free today. Can't make it in store? Visit us online at worldwidegolfshops.com. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee and family owned and operated since 1968.
About 80% of new home buyers don't shop around for the best mortgage loan. That's a mistake. Hey, Willie Donick here for my friends at Loan Pronto. Not all mortgages are created equal. People who use Loan Pronto, on average, save $3,500 in closing costs. They get a better rate, which saves them thousands more every year. Your banker or agent's go-to lenders are fine people, but don't assume they're giving you the best deal. Call Loan Pronto for a quick second opinion or go to loanpronto.com. I'll bet you they can get you a better loan, lower rate, without all those annoying closing costs. And when rates drop, Loan Pronto will refinance you for free. No closing costs. Call to get pre-approved in minutes. They can even hook you up with a high-performing real estate agent if you need one. So call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. Or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Penny Hardaway, University of Memphis coach. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Play silly underdog picks today. Pick 3 football underdog teams you think will win this week for a chance to win great prizes. Play now at thegamenashville.com or the 102.5 The Game app. Silly underdog picks is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket, and Superbook Sports voted the #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. So yesterday we were off because the Predators had their exhibition game against Bern, and so I had the pleasure of listening to Dan Dockich's radio program in Indianapolis. Now, here's my favorite thing about Indianapolis. Dan Dockich is certifiably crazy for Cocoa Puffs. I mean, he's crazy. And the worst part about listening to Dan Dockich is how personal, he makes everything. It's like, I've been telling you all for years. And Johnny tweeted at me and said, Dan, you're nothing but a piece of crap. And maybe if Johnny had coached basketball before Johnny, I'm like, Dan, get back to the Colts.
So he brought receipts. But tweet at your own risk.
That's just how he always is, though. That's him about everything. Everything's about him, which is hard to get over. But boy, does he give the Colts the business sometimes. And yesterday was 100% one of those days. He just admitted what I was trying to say all last week to anybody who would listen about the quality of team Indianapolis has.
They're bad. There's nothing interesting. There's no dynamic players. They're bad. I mean, bad. And I don't care whether the roof is open. I don't care whether the roof is closed. They're just bad, and they're boring. I'm sorry to God, they're just boring. Oh, man, we had a meeting. We tell you what, man,
He's right. That Colts team, they are, first of all, they're bad.
Yeah,
but secondly, they are freaking boring. They're not, the quarterback is not interesting. The running back, who's the best player on the team, is no good. They don't have.
It's not that he's no good, but it's
not
so
running the ball
obvious.
well.
It's so obvious what defenders need to do is just stop Jonathan Taylor because they don't have any other option.
They don't have any dynamic defensive players. They don't have any of them. The best players on the field defensively for them Sunday were Zaire Franklin and Grover Stewart. Not DeForest Buckner, Yannick Ngakoue, the guys they pay all the money to. Stephon Gilmore, oh man. Pop Stephon Gilmore. So then something that we have harped upon on this show, and I think the Indy media doesn't like it when I do this, and I know Joe doesn't like it when I do this. Remember every time that I accuse the Indianapolis media of carrying water for the Colts?
Yeah.
Joe's always like, no, you're just a fanboy who doesn't like the Colts, and so you feel this way, whatever. And I'm like, all Frank Reich and Chris Ballard do is kiss up to the national media, and then everyone goes on TV and says, Chris Ballard is a great general manager. Do they have a left tackle? No, but that doesn't matter. And Dan Dockage admits to that.
I've told you this for years. There's no toughness in that building. It's a PR. It's a total PR deal. It just is. And you can get mad, glad, angry, or sad about it, but it just is. They built a PR wing. I've said this for years. It's built on a house of sand. It's built on like me, love me, that kind of stuff. And I got to tell you, I don't... I'm not surprised at what's happening here. And the worst part about it is the Colts legitimately are boring. I mean, how many lifeless quarters have they had? 13?
I mean, think about it. He's not wrong, though. We talked about it all last summer, all this summer. It's like every time the Colts don't make the playoffs, they ship out the quarterback, and then they go get a quarterback who statistically wasn't as good as the quarterback they shipped out. And it's like every Zach Kiefer article is the next Peyton Manning right here, Matt Ryan. And it's like, whoa. And then we push back on it, and we're called homers. Drives me crazy. And then my favorite part. One of the things that I feel like doesn't get talked about enough with Indianapolis is that all of their best players play non-premium positions. Running back, middle linebacker, defensive tackle who doesn't sack the quarterback, and left guard. Like, that's all of their best players. Who's their left tackle? Don't know. Who's their right tackle? Don't know. Who's their quarterback? 38-year-old who hasn't been good for 5 years. What receivers they got? Average number 2 receiver, Michael Pittman, and then a bunch of random dudes. But the non-premium positions, boy, they're stacked. Middle linebacker. We got Shaq Leonard. He's a middle linebacker. Does he sack the quarterback? No. Okay. So they signed Quentin Nelson to this massive contract. Yeah, and guess what? I mean, you can have good punters and kickers, and there's a difference between that and Aaron Rodgers. And that's the problem. Indianapolis, for years, got by on having not great guys at non-premium positions, but it didn't matter. You had Peyton Manning. And now Indianapolis doesn't have Peyton Manning anymore, and they keep talking about we got our left guard and everything else, and that line stinks.
They also keep searching for the next Peyton Manning in the wrong places, thinking that Matt Ryan is going to just become Peyton Manning when he's never been that before.
Sure, and that's flawed thinking. But they don't think that. They don't actually think that Matt Ryan will be Peyton Manning, but they think that they've got a good enough team around Matt Ryan. At least they went into the season thinking they had a good enough team around Matt Ryan that they could build it that way.
I think they thought they did have a Peyton Manning going into this season.
Regardless, I mean, they didn't think that they really had Peyton Manning. I mean, Peyton Manning is Peyton Manning. But they thought that all these guys at non-premium positions mattered. They think that, I mean, like, I love Kevin Byard. He plays a non-premium position, but at least he intercepts the ball. But we talked about middle linebacker today. Nate Davis is going to get a bunch of money this offseason from somebody. I don't think it should be the Titans, because the Titans have a 270-pound guy playing guard right now, and they're running the ball the same as they were running it the last 2 years with Derrick Henry behind the offensive line. And so Dan Dockich was talking about how they probably hyped up Quentin Nelson a little bit too much. Here's what Dan Dockich said.
And I got to go back to what Zach Kiefer said. I got to go back to what he said when they signed Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson has changed the identity of the offensive line from the moment he got here. Okay, did he? All right, let me ask you a question. And hey, look, that's probably how Kiefer feels. All right. So let me ask you this question. What is the identity? What is it? I mean, you see, guys just say things, and that's why we've become the most popular show in the history of the world. What is the identity? This offensive line has been terrible for 2 years. Now, you can argue with me all you like. You just show your ignorance. What is the identity?
I think that's a really fair question.
Well, I mean, this Colts franchise has had a revolving door at quarterback for this is 5th quarterback in 5 years?
Yes.
It's kind of hard to find an identity when you have 5 different quarterbacks in as many years. Your offense doesn't have an identity. Your
defensive teams don't struggle with that.
Well, they don't have a defense.
And not only that, teams that run the ball, I mean,
that's where the Titans kind of, are sticking to that, right?
Yeah.
But they've also been consistent at quarterback.
But even then, I think the whole point of how the team is built, the tough, physical, the defense, punting, kicking, guys change, but the team itself stays the same. And that's the problem with the Colts on offense is the Colts want to be a tough, physical team that runs the ball. The problem is they can't block.
Do they want to be a tough
I don't
team
know
that
if
runs
they
the ball?
do. Frank Reich likes to, do all these tricky pass plays.
So that's why I think they might have the wrong coach for that. Because when they were in Philadelphia, when Frank Reich was in Philadelphia and with the Chargers, they were never a turnaround, hand the ball off 25 times a game kind of team. And so now that's what they're trying to be. But they're not because Frank Reich doesn't want to be that way.
And that's very flawed, trying to fit your personnel into a system just doesn't fit your personnel.
But the problem with that, again, which is crazy to me, is that that's what they've decided to do to themselves. That's what they've decided to do. But I take so much joy out of this. And I was trying to figure out why I take so much joy out of Indianapolis being terrible. And they are terrible. And they may beat the Titans in 2 weeks, but I don't care. They're terrible. But I was trying to think of why I take so much joy out of it. And I think I finally realized it. When teams are great, everybody that is an Alabama fan knows that Alabama is successful because they have Nick Saban. They know that it has nothing to do with the traditions of their program. They know it has nothing to do with the size of their stadium. They know it has nothing to do with their boosters. It has everything to do with the guy that they got to coach their team. And the second that he leaves, they got to pray that they can find somebody else to coach it. They are not entitled at Alabama. They just think, we're lucky to have Saban, thank God. But some of these other places feel like they're entitled. Indianapolis, it's like they feel like they're entitled to always be considered an elite NFL team. And I'm like, no. You were a crap franchise when you were in Baltimore, and John Elway didn't want to play for you, and then you moved to Indianapolis, and you were a crap franchise that Mel Kiper Jr. made fun of on TV because you never go get any good players. And then you were the worst team in the league, even though you had Marshall Faulk on your team. And then you drafted Peyton Manning, and all of a sudden you were good. And then you drafted Andrew Luck, and your division was horrible. And so you were kind of okay, even though you never really competed for the Super Bowl. You were kind of okay. And then you ruined that guy, and so he left, and now you got nothing. And you think you should be at the top of the league. You think you should be competing for the Super Bowl, and you know better than that. Because the truth is you just don't have Peyton Manning. You got lucky. That's what it is. You got lucky. And I hope Indianapolis and the people who cover the Colts, I hope they can understand. It's not a well-run organization. They just got lucky. And I just wish that they could admit that. That's all I wish. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Titan fans should enjoy this because the reason they've lost to the Colts all those years is because the Colts got lucky.
I think you can say the same thing about the Bengals, too. It's not a well-run organization, but they were bad at the right time.
We'll see if that lasts for 20 years. You know what I mean? It's one thing, to make it to the Super Bowl, and I love Joe Burrow, but let's see if that lasts 20 years.
On a short-term basis, yes, they got lucky.
Edley's, those are my guys. That's right. Tailgating with Edley's, it's the perfect combination. I love Edley's. In fact, I ordered from Edley's last week because I've been talking about it so much. I'm like, I got to order the smoked wings. But Edley's is absolutely fantastic. My family's been using Edley's for catering, for events for years, and they are your spot for tailgating. Hand off the tailgate prep to Edley's. Get your smoked wings and easy 25 and 50 count platters at Edley's Barbecue. Take the smoked pulled pork, brisket, turkey, and scratch-made sides. family style. That's right. Edley's is perfect for game day, or if you're at home, or if you're going to the stadium. Big games this weekend. If you're going to the game, get with Edley's. Call your neighborhood Edley's or order online at edleysbbq.com. That's Edley's. Let them take care of your tailgate parties. That's edleysbbq.com.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guys.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Another beautiful evening setting up for us as we look for mainly clear skies. Temperatures will drop back into the mid-40s. On our way to about 80 for the afternoon. Wednesday, mainly sunny skies expected. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
The Electronic Express famous half-price fair is back and better than ever. This week, save up to 50% on all your favorite brands. Don't miss out on these record low prices. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. Computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 50% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
The Nashville Oktoberfest is quickly approaching, and now's the time to get your dirndls, lederhosen, and party steins ready. From local breweries to live music and festival artisans, you can't go wrong celebrating this Germantown tradition. The Nashville Oktoberfest 2022, Thursday, October 6th through the 9th at Bicentennial Mall in Germantown. Prepare yourself for 4 days of brats, beer, live music, and competitions. VIP experience reservations are still available at thenashvilleoktoberfest.com. Prost, y'all!
When joint pains cause you to sit out on everyday activities, it's time to make an appointment with Dr. Matthew Beal at Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Dr. Beal can diagnose your problem and treat the joint pain for both surgical and non-surgical matters. Board certified and fellowship trained, Dr. Beal specializes in hip, knee, joint replacement, and adult joint reconstruction. Visit tn.houston.com to learn more about Dr. Beal and to book an appointment online. Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
Robbie Stanley.
To avoid non-contact injuries and not repeat last year.
Joe Rexroad.
Just wait until next year's national TV schedule comes out.
Robbie and Rexroad. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
When I was drafted by the Colts, Indianapolis was a basketball and a car racing town. But it didn't take long for the Colts to convert the city and state of Indiana into football evangelists. In the beginning of my time in Indy, the team's struggles were agonizing. My grandfather would call me weekly to ask if his favorite announcers, John Madden and Pat Summerall, would be broadcasting our game. Pawpaw, I'd say, we're only 2-8 right now. We're playing the 3-7 Bengals. Madden and Summerall don't broadcast those kinds of games. Fast forward to my second year when we had gotten things going a little bit. We were playing the Dallas Cowboys, including Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, and Deion Sanders. I called Pawpaw. Guess what? Madden and Summerall are broadcasting the game. He said, I can't believe it. He was elated. He was very proud.
Peyton Manning in his retirement speech says, Indianapolis, when I first got there, we were the worst team in the league, and it was a car racing and basketball town. But then, and again, he didn't say this, but this is really what happened. I took the Colts right to the top, where we're no longer not with Madden and Summerall playing the Bengals, but we're the Colts for 15 years, going to the Super Bowl, winning the AFC South every year, and everybody's a Colts fan, and we built them a new stadium and everything else. And guess what?
They haven't gotten back to that since?
They are right back to where they were with the stadium. That's it. The only difference between the Colts before Peyton got there and the Colts now is that Peyton got a stadium built out of it. That's it. And that is sad. That is so transient that it is one player, and Andrew Luck, to follow that, but it is one player. It is one player that carried that entire organization. And the funny part about it is the Broncos are the same way. Elway, all those years, Elway's gone. Then Peyton comes back in because Elway convinces him, and Denver hasn't made the playoffs since Peyton left.
Are the Patriots the same way?
No.
I think you could make
Here's
that argument.
the difference. The Patriots did not luck into Tom Brady. The Patriots discovered Tom Brady. They drafted Tom Brady. They developed Tom Brady. And then they had a great team around Tom Brady when they won their first Super Bowl and their first, 3 sets of Super Bowls. Robert Kraft spent 2 first-round draft choices on Bill Belichick in order to get him from the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
So he took the risk. And then Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick made the decision to go Brady over Bledsoe. So, they had to try,
There was a lot
do it
invested
right.
beyond just a first-round pick for a quarterback.
Indianapolis truly just got lucky. They just stunk at the right time. And they got Peyton Manning because of it. And every year they got Madden and Summerall and Jim Nantz and Phil Simms and Monday night, Sunday night football. And they were on TV all the time. And the residual effect of people believing the Colts are a good team because Peyton once played there is still evident. And the team sucks. What do we have in our text line?
One texter texts in and says, I'm not counting out Indianapolis turning things around later on in the season.
Are you counting out Indianapolis turning things around later in the season?
Yes.
Ian, are you counting out Indianapolis turning things around later in the season?
I'm getting there pretty quickly, especially with some of these injuries piling up for them as well.
They don't have any great players at premium positions.
Taylor's going to be banged up. Shaquille Leonard, man, he got nailed hard by his own player on that play.
You know what's crazy, though? The guy who replaced Leonard, in my opinion, right now, and all I know is a half, and I didn't watch the tape of the first half to see, Leonard running around or whatever. I just know he didn't do anything to stop the Titans when he was out there. I thought Zaire Franklin, the guy who replaced Shaquille Leonard, I think he was the best defensive player on the field for Indianapolis on Sunday.
Was it him or was it the Titans offense imploding?
No, because they have other guys, and it was like every big play I felt like was made by Zaire Franklin. Isaiah Rodgers had a tackle in the backfield. Grover Stewart had a couple of plays, and Kwity Paye had the sack where they tricked to PT. But other than that, it was Zaire Franklin makes this tackle. Zaire Franklin's running on this play. I think Zaire Franklin's pretty good. But they just don't have good players at premium positions. They don't have a left tackle. They don't have good corners. Not that they, press man and they run a single eye safety. They just don't have good players at premium positions. They don't have a good quarterback. They don't have a good tackle. They don't have good pass rushers. They don't have any of that. Ngakoue and Kwity Paye. Woo. What's next?
Maddie texts in and says something very opposite. Says the Colts are slowly becoming the Browns.
I don't know about that.
How long have the Browns been so bad?
Jim Irsay does not fire people the way the Browns fire people. That's what the hallmark of the Browns is. Now, they do switch the quarterback every year, and that is, I would say, a little concerning. But it's not I don't think it's the ineptitude is the level of Cleveland. This is what I think. I think Chris Ballard talks a good game, and then he doesn't actually know what the keys to building a football team are. He doesn't understand the importance of premium position players. He's trying to get everything as a deal. He's trying to do what he did when he traded the 3rd pick for the 6th pick, got a bunch of extra picks, and drafted Quentin Nelson while the Jets took Sam Darnold. They took a quarterback who's no good. We took this foundational left guard. The problem is keep taking left guards, and I'll keep taking quarterbacks, and somebody's going to hit before somebody else does. That's it for us. We're out of here. The Tennessee Power Hour with Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow is next. Stillman and Company back tomorrow, too.